Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
I don't know about y'all. I'm standing for this one. I'm not sitting down until I know who the Pistons are taking, man. Listen, man, I'm going to level with y'all. I have been a Detroit Pistons fan since the year 2005. I have been waiting my entire life for the Pistons to have the opportunity to draft guys like Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. And now, because of the tutelage of Troy Weaver, because of the front office that we're doing, the Detroit Pistons have the opportunity to go land two of the best players from the past two drafts. Are you telling me that a backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey alongside whoever the Pistons can add this offseason isn't a team that is to be trifled with in the Eastern Conference? Ladies and gentlemen, the Detroit Pistons are here. Their time is now.
Sean. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Preach.
The pick is in.
Detroit basketball. Let's go, man. Detroit
what did he say?
The pick is in.
Jay, what's home? What's home?
Let's go.
What did he say is home? Shh. Let's listen up.
Let's go. Let's go.
They did good. They got it right.
That's how you win basketball.
That was the scene from last night right here in the Planet Fitness studio with Woodward Sports. The Woodward Pistons came in and, man, we had a party in here last night. If you saw that, I was sipping on these mulligans right here, which, by the way, picks them up for this weekend. Two of them. And a professional drinker like myself was feeling pretty loose, pretty happy. I don't know if it was from the Jaden Ivey announcement and all that, but welcome to Big D Energy. My name is Stick. I'm filling in for Neal Ruhl today. That is Jeff Iafrate. He is sitting in for D-Mac today. And the ironic part about me filling in for Neal Ruhl is Neal Ruhl's literally right here.
Now, hey, Stick, let's say it like this. You had a couple of mulligans. You are a professional. I know that. You were altered. I'm not going to say like it took you out or anything that. You were altered, though. The physiology in the room was changed. Is that fair? Is that a fair statement?
It was like therapy. You know, I just felt more relaxed. That my shoulders dropped, my cheeks got red, I got that Irish tan going on. No, it was just really good energy in here last night, so I had to run. And what kind of energy? Really big D energy and big fish energy in here too. We got Sam Flannel and of course Spencer Raxter, who hopped in last night on the Woodward Pistons pre-draft or the draft show. And Spence, you were at your house. Let's talk to you a little bit of it. How was it just sitting there? Like, could you feel the excitement through the camera?
Oh, yeah. I could feel the excitement. I loved it. You obviously saw the emotions that Jaden Ivey showed, so you love to see that. Guy wants to be here. It's another thing, like Cade wanted to be here. Jaden Ivey wants to be here. So we're getting guys like that. And then once the second pick happened, that trade with Duren, I was trying to figure out, like, is Shan's right? Is Woj right? Turns out they're both right, but they're saying different things. I was just confused, but it was a great time. I had a great time.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing about even watching it on ESPN. Like, they kept reporting what we already knew, but in stages.
I hate it. That was my biggest probably frustration during the night, and I get it. Like that's the age we live in. It's social media. And Woj, who can be first to the news? For me though, doing the stream, the one thing I ask is don't spoil the Pistons pick, or I'll kill you. And last night it was a lot of fun, and man, I got that hopium. Now that we got Neal in, he's really the whole room's flooded with hopium. And last night it was electric.
And that's cool. And Stick, I told you this, and everybody, get loose for the weekend. I mean, I want you to wake up tomorrow with regret, for your actions and everything that you did. Like, get it in. Whatever your way of choice to party is to party, get it in. And, we'll wake up Monday ready to rock. We'll be back based in reality a little bit. No, but I mean, it's one of those things where you see the plan, right? And Jeff Iafrate and I were talking before the show. And we all saw the heat Troy Weaver was taking for the trade and everything like that. But as we talked about, this was part of a plan that was you knew that wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? Like you knew he wasn't just going to stand by and take that and move on. You knew how this thing was going to shake out to some degree, and he executed the plan. Just calm, cool, collected. Here's a question I have, and I would love to have a drink with Troy Weaver someday and sit down and say, how how do you take that? When you know what the plan is, right? You know what you're going to do, and you're getting killed out there. I know they don't care. Like, I understand that. Like, we get killed in this business. You got to not care. You have to not care.
You got to have thick skin.
Yeah,
right?
or else it'll drive you crazy.
Yeah.
But just to know that you're not done. I wonder if does that bother him to some degree? I'm curious about that.
Hell no. Like, for someone like me, if I'm Troy Weaver, I'm getting so much joy out of people doubting me, out of people that aren't trusting me, out of people that think that I'm dumb enough just to make one move and not like have a vision for it. So I love being underestimated. That's one of my favorite parts in life. And I think when people do that to a guy like Troy Weaver, he just sits there with that Cheshire Cat grin on his face like, all right, dumbasses, I got this.
And Neal, a good question to ask too is how do opposing GMs feel when Troy Weaver calls your phone and you get fleeced 9 out of 10 times? Like
they probably feel the exact same way that the opposite way, actually, of when GMs when Al Avila calls GMs in baseball. They probably feel the exact opposite of that. They get, they're not very excited. That's how Al Avila should be when the Tampa Bay Rays call. Right. Like just send that one straight to voicemail. Yeah. Don't answer that one.
How about Troy Weaver just abusing the 2 worst owners in basketball yesterday, in James Dolan and Michael Jordan?
And you know what? I do. You know what, Spence and Sam and Jeff, I do want to take a little victory lap there because I knew
you called it.
The Knicks trash bag idea was going to come to fruition in some way.
That's true.
Came to some way in Kemba Walker, and that was how he moved up that draft pick that he got for Jerami Grant. It's just sometimes the writing's on the wall, right? And the Knicks, I tweeted it last night, the Kings are always going to king, which they did. And secondary to that, you take a look at, just as you said, Spencer, you play the hits.
Right.
The Knicks, the Hornets, and Jordan. And you know what, too? Those people that are critical of Joe Dumars. Hey, Jordan, it ain't so easy, is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not so easy. You don't just sprinkle your dust on it and make Charlotte good. It's hard out there in them streets.
But Joe Dumars made 2 bad signings. Like, look at what Jordan's done. Nothing with that entire squad. And you're right. It is nice when you can get over on a Michael Jordan. You can get over on the Knicks. Like watching Stephen A. Smith last night, damn near have an aneurysm on ESPN when he's like, the Knicks haven't gotten to anybody tonight. All we've done is trade stuff.
Yeah, but you know what though? I don't hate what the Knicks did. I think I see them working again. They are going to be active in the trade market, and they loaded up on draft capital. So I understand what they were doing, and I understand what they were trying to do. They do have some flexibility now to where if things don't work out, I get what they're doing. But I know what the Pistons are doing, and they're moving forward. And I do have an epiphany, and I do have to come clean to you guys and everybody watching as well. Steve Brown on the YouTube chat thread said, I thought Neal wasn't in today. I thought he was going golfing.
I was just going to say, why don't we explain why you're in the big chair today?
Well, because this is big, right? And this is why days like today are why you do this job as a career. And it's a lot of fun and stuff like that. And I was sliding up north. And I figured, hey, I'll pop in on the show and at least sit through the first hour or so of it and just be in there. I can make a quick getaway, as you see. I'm in the chair today. I appreciate you guys stepping in. So yeah, that is the deal. But I kind of delayed the little mini weekend vacation plans because it's important. It's important to sit here and I can come clean and I can look into the camera and tell you guys this. I watched the draft with basketball people yesterday, people who do this for a living.
Can you give us names or just basketball
just
people?
Basketball people.
Okay. Right. Don't reveal your sources.
They feed their family. They feed their family based on the game of basketball, okay? And and I have warmed up. To Purdue, the whole Purdue angle and all that kind of stuff. That's gone to me now. And I see where the Pistons were going with Jaden Ivey, and something that I underestimated with him. And the basketball people that I talked to, Stick, they explained this to me. And when we did the whole Cade Cunningham thing, what was the knock on Cade Cunningham? And Jeff, you can remember this. What was the one knock on Cade Cunningham? Athleticism.
Yes, it was.
Great player, always makes the right call, everything like that.
Yep.
Not super duper athletic. That was the whole Jalen Green thing. Incredible athlete, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
When you put the pieces back together of it with Ivey, can you picture now the Pistons in transition with Ivey coming down the floor, with Cade coming down the floor off a steal,
Bagley,
they needed to address athleticism.
And don't forget about Duren now, too. Duren can run that floor like nobody's business.
We'll talk about Duren in a minute.
Yeah.
But with Ivey, he gives this team a shot of athleticism that they didn't have. And in today's NBA,
you need it.
Where we talk about positionless basketball and we talk about scoring in transition, Jaden Ivey is a guy that can be electric in transition. And you have to. Yeah, because that's how else you going to get easy buckets, man.
Right.
This is a league where you have to get easy buckets because, contrary to popular opinion, they do defend in the NBA. They are the best defenders in the world. There are just some guys that you cannot stop. And Ivey in transition is something that I undervalued. And I'll look in the camera and say, I was wrong on that. I undervalued that. And the fit is much better when I had it broken down by basketball.
You know what I admire about Neal is you can learn and change your opinion. A lot of people, they get stuck in their ways and would hate Ivey and root against him for this entire time. But you're like, no, you know what? I learned from people that are smarter than me when it comes to basketball. Not smarter than me in general, but when it comes to basketball, and you're taking that information. And, like Neal, I just really wish you would have listened to me and Jeff from the beginning, and you would have had these problems.
Yeah. No, and that's fine. And that's fine. But Sam Flannel, what's the line? Give him the line.
When you get new information, you're allowed to change your opinion.
There it is.
Adult stuff.
Yeah, and they broke down, the analytics of it, of buckets in transition in the league. Transition baskets are at a higher clip than they ever have been in the NBA.
Yep, the pace.
Because it's an athletically based game now, more than it ever has been. And the Pistons needed that. And that is a compliment to Cade. That is the one thing that Cade, doesn't provide at an elite level, is elite athleticism, but Ivey does. So here you go.
Yeah, Cade doesn't have elite athleticism, but he's like a Luka. He still gets to his spot, right?
Yeah.
Like his strength, his positioning, his angles, his intelligence is really what makes up for that. Yeah, he's a cerebral player.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned getting more athletic. I think another thing is they added more ball handlers because if you look at the NBA right now, every team has multiple guys that can make plays with the basketball and get others involved. So we can't just have Cade. Like you see it with Luka Doncic, he has Jalen Brunson. You need pieces, and I think Jaden Ivey is going to be dynamic with Cade Cunningham. That's a fire and ice right there. Like they do things the other can't do, but it's going to be entertaining, man. Really.
So overall, both of you, after last night, like, how are you feeling? Like, I know you're like, hey, get drunk, but Monday, let's chill out. So where are you in that realm of get drunk and chill out?
I do see everybody firing up the engines again about the play-in game and the playoffs and stuff like that. I mean, you as we look at this roster now, and I always defer to Sam Flannel. Sam, when we get new
information, you're allowed to change your opinion.
Okay, but as the roster sits right now, they can be improved. I think certainly they can be improved, but again, there are a lot of qualities of last year to it where that record can be in the same ballpark. They can be a better team, and that record can be in the same ballpark, though, as it sits right now. Now, we don't know what the free agency is going to look like. I don't think they're out of the mix for Ayton by any means. I've had people talk to me this morning about that. Because remember, Duren is an 18-year-old kid, man.
That's crazy.
An 18-year-old kid. Like, that's what he is. Everybody calm down about it. People think he's going to step in and play 30 minutes. No, that's not how that's going to work. He is 18 years old.
Well, we know who we drafted last night. We're going to discuss more of that. We're going to discuss Ivey and Cade, how that is going to work out with those two on the court at the same time. Plus, we got a lot more draft coverage coming up all day today right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Make sure you like and subscribe. This is Big D Energy every day, 11 to 1. It's normally Neal, Ruhl, and D-Mac, but today myself and Jeff are filling in. So make sure you come back every day, 11 to 1. And Jeff, tell them why your hair looks so damn good today.
I got you. It was positive yesterday for the draft, but you know what else is positive? Getting the hair right. I mean, look at this. I mean, go to Lady Jane's, guys. And as you know, we broadcast.
Hit you with a look at this.
Look at this. I mean, come on. I got the buffs on. I got the fresh haircut. And go to Lady Jane's. It is definitely awesome for me personally. And get off the air. You get to sit in one of the comfy chairs. I'm looking at it right now and get taken care of by one of many girls that can take care of you. So go to Lady Jane's. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Open anytime. Walk in anytime because it's wicked awesome.
Wicked. Wicked.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brad Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Glad that we can finally start trying to get the stigma off of mental health that's been there for all these years.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Stick, filling in for Neal Ruhl today. That is Jeff Iafrate filling in for Mr. D-Mac, four-time Stanley Cup champion.
Four-time.
We, of course, got Sam Flannel in here, Spencer's in here, and ironically, Neal Ruhl is in here as well. And you know what? We have a TV on in the studio, and right now, Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins are debating which team won the NBA draft. Stephen A. Smith says the Pistons, and they're showing a bunch of Jaden Ivey highlights right now. And you know what? I'm kind of getting some Lions vibes out of this.
Just going to say that.
Just going to say national love for a Detroit team, period. National love. And we didn't see that for the Lions for the longest time. You know, you saw it with Cade this year, how frustrated he got. He'd put up Jordan numbers in a game and wouldn't even get a blurb on SportsCenter. But now, starting to get some national love. How you feeling about that, Jeff?
Oh, I'm feeling good. And we talked about this pre-show as well. Like and obviously, I'm a young guy. I'm a young fella, and that's why Neal needs to break it down for me a little bit. But I have never witnessed
slight shot.
Well, I mean, am I
that's
wrong?
all right, young buck.
Am I wrong?
It's all right,
like,
son.
I can sit here and say I've never witnessed an off season like this. But then someone's comeback would be like, "Well, you're 21, so yeah, that makes sense."
How many off seasons have you really experienced?
Exactly.
Fetus.
So for me though, name a time the Lions and Pistons consecutively had this good of a draft. And we don't know how these players are going to pan out, but in terms of value at the pick, that's what I took from it. Back to back. And Brad Holmes and Troy Weaver, they're different.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, too, like when you go back to the Bad Boys, right? Look at that run that they had in the 80s of the drafts when they took Isaiah Thomas and Dumars and Sally and Rodman. I mean, that was a monstrous run, those 4 years of NBA drafts. And then Dumars came around and did it differently, built it through the trades and stuff like that, everything that Michael Jordan can't do in Charlotte, by the way.
And he did it a little bit through the draft. Memo Okoro was, the role players were through the draft. Memo, you got a Tayshaun in the draft, stuff like that. So a little mix of both.
A little mix of both there. But yeah, I mean, it is, and it's apparent what's going on. And you know what I think this is an offshoot of, too? The Kevin Durant effect. With the whole Cade Cunningham thing, when it became national news that he gave Cade a lot of love and stuff like that. You notice since that moment that everybody's kind of really warmed up to Cade Cunningham nationally and to the Pistons team now. And again, just remember, as this team sits right now, everybody, and look, party this weekend. Do like Stick. Wake up tomorrow with regret. Do it. I mean, think to yourself out loud, like verbalize it to yourself. Say, I can't believe I did this to my body again. But But that's okay. Come back Monday. Just remember, everyone, and I'm seeing this, the Ivey Rookie of the Year and Ivey is Ja Morant and stuff like that. Like, do it today. Okay?
He could be.
Yeah.
He's got the same hair. He can jump out the gym. He's athletic. I mean, listen, we're hoping he's going to be that, right? Like, when you look at the guy, when you look at the comp, that's kind of what you got out of him.
But you don't. With this team, remember, this is still Cade Cunningham's team. Even though he's going to be in the second year and stuff like that. This is Cade's team.
Right.
That's the usage. That's where everything's going to go through. For Ivey for you to expect Ivey to be like a Ja Morant, the usage won't allow for it. It's something that's physically impossible. There's one basketball, man.
And I don't like as much as he watches Ja Morant, and I get it, I don't think he'll be a similar player because, like you just pointed out, Ja makes a lot of plays with the basketball. I think Jaden's going to, and he talked about it after he got drafted, I can play off ball. Like, there's parts of Jaden Ivey's game that we haven't seen because he didn't play with a playmaker like Cade Cunningham at Purdue. I mean, there's no spacing at Purdue. So I think he's going to benefit with the NBA spacing, playing with Cade Cunningham, and better players.
The basketball people I was talking to yesterday, they said he's going to be one of those guys, and you see this every so often, that is a far better NBA player than they are a college player.
Right.
Because like I base my my stuff off that, and he plays for Purdue, and it's Purdue in the Big Ten and all that kind of stuff. And they did break that down. That was the angle that they talked about. Just the spacing in the NBA, certainly matchup driven as well, will give him an advantage with his athleticism. It's a totally different game than what you're playing in college.
Well, let's talk about pairing him with Cade, right? These guys have similar but opposite skill sets, right? They both can get to the rim, but they get there in different capacities. So how do you think this marriage is going to work with them? Because now you have your super athletic off guard if he's going to play off the ball, and then you have your slow, methodical 6'7" point guard. And those are interchangeable pieces. And I don't want to forget Killian Hayes in this conversation too, because he's probably going to be the sixth man coming off the bench to relieve either of those two as the game plays out. But how are you envisioning this, Jeff, when those two are on the same court together?
They're going to be hard to game plan for. I'll say that. With Jaden Ivey, and like you said, they bring opposite things, especially the athleticism that Jaden Ivey brings. But it really comes down to they're going to be able to play off each other. And I talked about this also. It's not always on the court. If you look at the Boston Celtics, when Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown is on the bench, you have one guy in there that can keep your team afloat, can make plays for others, score. And that's what the Pistons were lacking. If you look at the offensive efficiency numbers last year, without Cade, the Pistons were terrible. So this is what Jaden Ivey is going to be able to bring. Even with Killian, if Killian can knock down shots, he can play with either one.
Yeah, if he can hit that corner three, I mean, that's a staple to a Casey's offense.
Absolutely.
What's up, Spence?
But you brought up the Killian effect, and that's what I'm excited about, is we give Cade that rest, bring in Killian, that frees up Jaden Ivey to run the offense, to run the show, go get his attack, go get his buckets, go downhill, and Killian can just focus on defense. He can be out there being a defensive stalwart, ripping up people and throwing these deep long passes to Jaden Ivey, who's streaking down the floor. And so I think them playing with the second unit will be impressive.
Yeah, and it's really, it's a nice three-guard setup because they all share kind of different skill sets, but they all kind of complement each other.
Right.
And I like the depth that we're building on this team. I'm not ready to give up on Killian Hayes, and I don't want to make this about Killian Hayes, but a lot of people are like, all right, trade him, get him out of here. Listen, you can't trade him for anything right now. His trade value is probably at the lowest it's ever going to be. You need to see him play and perform on the court before you get anything. And the kid, he's still a kid.
Absolutely.
So if you put him in this three-guard rotation, we're looking pretty damn good. And if you go back to the going to work Pistons, you needed the Lindsey Hunters, you needed the Mike James to come off the bench to complete that, so you could give your starters the rest.
And if you're looking at roster right now too, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Amadou Diallo. And next week I think is the deadline. Yeah, next week is the deadline for the club option to be determined. The Pistons have a $5-ish million club option on Diallo. Joseph's already opted in because he had a player option, so he's here, and there's nothing you can do about that. It will be interesting to see how they move forward because that backcourt got real crowded real quick. You know what I'm saying? And what are you going to do? Again, with Cade and Ivey and Killian, you have Joseph.
Bye, Joseph.
He's exercised the player option though, man. You're on the hook for that.
He might get some
million.
DNPs.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, where are the minutes for Diallo? And Diallo, and I'm one. I'm a Diallo fan, but I do like his game. But he's not somebody that I'm gonna die on the hill for or anything like that. But the backcourt's gotten crowded for sure.
He needs to be like a Ronald Dupree on our team. That's exactly what Diallo can fill on a championship style team. That's what I think about Diallo and his skill set. Yeah, he can ball, but he's never going to be a lead. He's never going to be a sixth man. Maybe 8, 9, 10th man off the bench. But I don't really see him being a star, especially the way this team's coming together right now.
Yeah, and I think it's a good problem to have. You can never this is what I respect most about Troy Weaver is he doesn't look at fit. He just looks at talent. That's how you build a team. You don't look at, I have Corey Joseph, Killian Hayes, I have Hamida. No, you take the best players. So Killian Hayes, I think, is going to thrive. And same, it's really about Frank Jackson. You know what I mean? Those guys are going to leave. It's not really about Killian. Diallo may still be back, but really, they upgraded at the guard position, absolutely.
On a YouTube chat thread, too, Michael Barr says, I love how we screwed the Hornets tying their hands behind their back by getting Duren, but not taking Hayward's contract, meaning the Hornets can't sign Bridges to a max without going over the luxury tax. We haven't seen the last of the Gordon Hayward discussion with the Hornets, though.
Or the Bridges, too.
Right, or the Bridges. And, yeah, and that's certainly an option, too. Through all this, here's what I love. And, Jeff, we talked about this week. Even with the draft, what did Troy Weaver maintain? They can still do anything they want.
Flexibility.
They can still go after they can still go after Ayton if that's what they choose. If they want to just jam a max offer down Jordan's throat on Bridges, they can do that. I know Spencer's about that life right now. He's a big Bridges guy. But
the double cups lined up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you admitted it.
Hey, man, but whatever. I don't get your 20 a game. I don't care what you do. But with all that being said, the flexibility is still there, man. It's all still there. He can do whatever he wants to do. Steve Yzerman's doing it the same way. Holmes is doing it the same way. In 2 years, they're still on pace to have that $110 million in cap space for the Lions. You see this revolution of how the game is played just as much financially and through the draft as it is on the floor or on the field.
So I was scrolling through Corey Wood's Twitter because he kind of tweeted out like what you were talking about how Troy Weaver's playing chess, not checkers,
right?
And like how he's pinning the Bobcats or the Hornets up against the wall by not letting them have enough money to re-sign their players. And I just got educated on this. I didn't know Jaden Ivey's dad was Javen Hunter from Detroit Country Day.
Yeah.
We played against him in high school, man. Like, he graduated the year after me at Detroit Country Day. I had no idea until I was scrolling
Well, no, because he didn't go to Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
No,
so you didn't even know he
was a
existed.
hell of a player at Country Day, though, man. But, like, you know, the family ties with Jaden Ivey and what you love to see about him, well, he wants to be here. This is the second year in a row we drafted a guy that wants to be in Detroit. Once again, not only the national media loving on us, but the players we're drafting. This isn't a ho-hum, put my head down, damn it, I'm playing for Detroit. This is, all right, we're here. He put on the buffs yesterday before the draft, too. But his grandfather played for the Lions. His father was a 3-time state championship.
His grandma lives here currently.
At Detroit Country Day. His mother played for the Shock, and his grandma lives here currently. Like,
it's crazy.
Like, he's going to eat some home cooking. He's going to be at LCA. Like, everything. The stars are aligning right now for the Pistons for some reason. For some reason, even though we didn't win the lottery, I think we got the guy that we needed anyways.
And you know what's even crazy? It's more similar to the Lions. If you look at their last two drafts, Penei Sewell, fan of the Lions when he was younger. Aiden Hutchinson, grew up in Michigan, fan of the Lions. Not really, he's excited to be at home. But if you look at the Pistons, the same thing. Cade Cunningham, happy to be a part of the Pistons. Jaden Ivey wanted to be a Piston. Like, this is the culture these guys are building.
Marvin
and I think
Bagley.
It's going to work well for him.
Marvin Bagley wanted to come to Detroit. And that's what, like, the Ayton thing, I mean, if you want to do it, you want to go do it, you can do it, but does it fit? Does it fit the same drive as the rest of the team, as these young guys? Like you said, you know, obviously Cade only worked out for the Pistons. Jaden Ivey only worked out for the Pistons and the Maverick, and he's got the family ties, or the Pistons and the Magic, and he's got the family ties in Detroit. Marvin Bagley, excited to come to the Pistons to revitalize his career. Jalen Duren, hungry guy, ready to make a name for himself. Ayton, we see what he's done in Phoenix, where he's kind of that, you know, oh, darn, I'm not going back in the game. I'm not going to give 100%. Like, it's not as bad as maybe an Andre Drummond was on the soft level or attitude level, but I don't think it fits with the attitude and the culture that Troy is building with these young Pistons.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to watch this, and I know Jeff, like we joked about, you know, how old me and Neal are compared to you, but this is literally what it felt like when they were building the Going to Work Pistons, like when Chucky Atkins and John Barry were here, and you could feel the momentum going forward, and you knew like John Barry wasn't going to be a big part of it, but you knew he was a part of the process, kind of like, you know, Uncle Cliff, rest in peace. Like, he was a part of us growing to get to where we need to be, and that's where I feel we're at right now with this Detroit Pistons team. So you're getting to feel a little bit what it's like to watch a team grow into a champion.
And listen, I may be young, but correct me if I'm wrong. Every time the Pistons have won a championship, they've had, what, a dynamic backcourt. So we're checking off boxes, and he knows how to get it done.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about that backcourt and compare them to old Pistons backcourts coming up later on in the show. Plus, we got another guy that they drafted yesterday that we can't forget about. His name is Jalen, and Jalen Rose was pretty happy about that, so we're going to discuss that coming up next. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Cintron. The summer of Cintron is here, and they are your official sponsors for the Pistons. Look, right on this thunder stick right here, it says Cintron. You know why? Because they are at LCA for the Red Wings, the Pistons. They're in Comerica for the Tigers, and of course at Keyworth for DCFC games with our man Neal Ruhl. And you can pick it up at Kroger, so throw it in your cooler this weekend. Cintron, now available at Kroger.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader Bet Tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
We'll talk about it.
Call me Mr. Flintstone. I can make your bedrock. Bedrock Detroit is here. The summer is better at the Monroe Street Midway. I'm talking roller skating. They got food trucks. It's just a fun time to go downtown. So if you're looking for something to do this weekend, the weather's going to be perfect. Make sure you head down to the Bedrock Monroe Street Midway, play some basketball. Plus, they got free Wi-Fi, so you ain't got to worry about using all your data while you're down there, too. Monroe Street Midway. Get there this weekend. All right, welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Big D Energy on every day, 11 to 1 p.m., followed by The Bottom Line with Ryan Ermani and our man Braylon Edwards, and, of course, Maz. That's going to be on from 2 to 4 today, so make sure you're coming back and subscribing so you can see that. And then, of course, the Morning Woodward Show every morning, 8 to 10, with Adam Beydoun and the one, the only, T. Foss. So, yeah, make sure you guys are subscribing, liking. We appreciate all the new viewers that we have today. And, yeah, we're here to put on for Detroit. And last night, the city did it for us, too. And that's what's nice. The teams are actually supporting us. So we're not up here, oh, man, they blew another draft. Like we actually get we get something to talk about. And a guy that is kind of flying under the radar because he isn't Jaden Ivey, which is fair, is the guy they drafted right after him, Jalen Duren.
Yeah, this is a guy I had mocked to the Pistons for some time at 7, actually. So the fact they got him at 13, that's value, number one. But I think a point I have to add with Jalen Duren is he was coached by Larry Brown and Rasheed Wallace at Memphis. Like, that goes under the radar, and now he's a Piston. He's happy to be here. And honestly, he brings something that we lacked last year, which is size, interior, scoring, especially another lob threat. Like, people got so happy when Marvin Bagley got here. That's all Jalen Duren does. He flies. So to have two playmakers with Jalen Duren, he didn't have a playmaker like that at Memphis, so he's going to benefit from that. It's going to be exciting to watch him.
And listen, I don't want to go off track here, but can we address Amani Bates? Like, what the hell happened to Amani Bates? 2 years ago, it was Amani Bates and Chet Holmgren, the two best high school players in the country.
Duren was in that conversation, too. It was those three guys always on ESPN all the time.
Yeah, right. And two got drafted last night, and one is trying to find a home to play college basketball. So be careful about your decisions, kids. That's all I got to say.
That's the lesson.
That is the life lesson, because he went to Memphis. He was coached by Larry Brown. He was coached by Rasheed, but he wasn't in the draft last night, and which was crazy because when him and Chet went one-on-one here, I believe it was in Ipsy.
That was big.
Oh, man, the gym was packed. It was during COVID, and that gym was packed. So, yeah, it's just crazy how far you can fall off in 2 years. So stay on your damn game. But back to Jalen Duren.
Yes.
How you feeling about him, Neal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously intrigued. People are a little over the top, right? He is 18, guys. He is 18 years old. And the specimen. But 7'5" wingspan, man, 250 pounds, like NBA body. But he's a kid. But he's 18, and I think here's the two angles of it. Number one, you have to give him a lot of credit playing at Memphis, which was an absolute circus last year, an absolute circus. Now he was up when he was up. He was dominant in basketball game. Memphis was the one team, like working in college basketball. You don't get to watch a ton of games because you're doing your own game or you're traveling or whatever. I did watch Memphis whenever I got a chance because I was sucked in by the show. And when he was in there, he was in there and he was dominating games. And then he had games where, he kind of, I don't want to say he checked out, but it's the nature of being 18 years old and playing college Division I basketball. He's not going to come in and take the NBA by storm. He's not going to take the Pistons by storm in the first year. This is more of a baseball / NHL draft pick. You know what I'm saying? This is more along the line, the Mo Sider-ish. draft pick where he's not going to play a ton, he's not going to start certainly. But what does everybody always say about the NBA draft? You're drafting on ceiling. You're drafting on projection.
Especially at that area, right? 13.
Bingo.
That's all you should draft.
You're
on.
stepping up to the crap table and roll and shake them up, shake them up, shake them up, shake them. Like that's
roll them in a circle of homies and watch me break them.
Like that's what you're doing.
7-11.
And you're trying to roll a 7-11, maybe even backdoor Little Joe. What are you trying to do out here?
Then I'm yelling domino.
Yeah. And eventually, the Lakers may beat the Supersonics. You never know.
That was a good day.
That's what you're doing with this, and it's a hell of a head start, right? And I think, Jeff, you talked about it too, the lob threat. Like this, and look, everybody was some kind of way about Andre Drummond, but what you couldn't deny when he ran pick and roll with Reggie Jackson, that the offense was at their best during that whole playoff time. That's when their offense was at their best. He is way more athletic, obviously. He is a today center where certainly the center is a dying art.
Yes.
But he is an athletic center. He's a guy that is going to be involved in the pick and roll, that can get up and down the floor. He's not a stiff out there. So, it's exciting because of that ceiling. Like, you want to talk about guys that if they reach their ceiling could be a star. Like Duren could be a star center in the NBA if he reaches the ceiling.
Yeah, well, Larry Brown, you mentioned coached him at Memphis, and he had great things to say about him. And one of the things said, this guy can run with anybody. He's like Ben Wallace, and not his defensive prowess. I'm just talking running the floor. And, we talked about it with a guy like Cade, with a guy like Ivey that's going to get out in the open court. Now you have two lob options with Bagley and our newfound Jalen, and I think it's phenomenal that we're getting more athletic. Because you look at the Warriors. How do they get a lot of their possessions? They get out, they just throw the ball out. That's why they have a lot of turnovers, because they lead past a lot of guys out there, but they just anticipate their guys being athletic enough to get to those lead passes.
Right.
And if we could start putting some of that, like LCA is going to be showtime, baby.
Yeah, second chance points too. Like that was what Jalen Duren did for Memphis. Like getting offensive rebounds, giving your team second chance points. And another thing I got to add too, I think there's more offensive upside with Jalen Duren that's talked about. I get he struggles from the free throw line, but that 10-15 footer's money.
Yeah, and he knocks it down repeatedly.
He knocks it down. So when I look at Jalen Duren, like, man, you brought it up. The athleticism of this team, looking at it from a year ago to
180.
now, it's 180.
And that's the thing, too, with Ivey, and I talk about the transition, because as you brought up, Stick, Golden State, they pop those runs on you, those 14-2 runs in a minute and a half. And how do you do that? You do that through transition.
Correct.
And now, and this is where Ivey fits in, too, where you see... Again, you see what Troy Weaver's doing here. He's bringing this team along in today's day and age of what he's trying to do. So certainly, but on the YouTube chat thread, Rack wants to know, Stick, have you had to use your AK today?
Not today.
I got to say it was a good day.
Yeah, and I finally got a call from the girl I want to dig out, so that was nice too. Like, it's been a good day. It's been a good Friday. We got Jaden Ivey. I got the call. Let's go.
D. White says that Ice Cube reference was gold. I like to. Spence, I like to let them know I got some bars in reserve.
Yeah, you got to put the bars out when they're there. It is a good day.
Yeah.
So, hey.
Today is a good day.
Absolutely. So you got to put that out there. D from the 313. And this is key too, Jeff, and you'll love this. You're a geek like me. D from the 313 says the Kemba buyout won't affect our cap space since it's going to go under the Jerami Grant trade exception.
Yeah, it's like $2 million will come off.
Can we appreciate this real quick? Troy Weaver dealt Jerami Grant and traded for the 13th pick without taking on a contract. Like, that goes under the radar.
No, and that was the thing too. Because I didn't understand the hate. Like I got the hate at like a baseline level on Wednesday. But that was the thing I walked in here where I said, if you don't understand the trade exception, then maybe sit this one out on social media. And I don't want to lord over everybody, but this time I'm gonna. Damn it, I'm gonna geek out.
Neal.
I'm gonna geek out on this one. That's where you knew that the trade exception was the huge thing, and there's still change left on that trade exception now. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah, no, like we said, chess not checkers, right? When it comes to Troy Weaver, and then when you're talking about Jaylen Brown, you mentioned it earlier. Dude doesn't turn 19 till November. He's gonna put on a Piston uniform at 18 years old. It's
crazy.
He's gonna be playing in the NBA at 18, so the upside is there. Just to go over some of his stats, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1.3 assists, 60% from the floor when he's shooting. His best game, he had a 21-20 game against UCF in the ACC tournament, and then the 7'5" wingspan, 7.5-foot wingspan.
Jesus.
That's insane. That's insane, man. Like, he can literally touch you from here. And just to have that athleticism, you saw, I don't know if you guys saw the highlight of him, like, monkey blocking a shot like that. And it's just crazy how he smacked it down like that.
Yeah. No,
I love that. I can't wait to see that on the floor.
He's a specimen. And people, if you haven't watched it already, go back and watch Jalen Duren against Chet Holmgren. Like they went at it, and he went number 2 overall. Like, Jalen Duren, in my opinion, was the second best center in this draft, and you got the best guard, and really, arguably, could be in the future. Who knows? If not the best, but the second best center in this draft class. So props to Troy Weaver, man. He got value.
Here on Mark M wants to know, Stick, did Mama cook you a breakfast with no hog today?
No, but I did get my grub on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But you didn't pig out.
No. And I already told you about the girl who wanted to dig out.
No, so it all come together. Yeah, it's all come together. Dom Rivera, Neal's always bringing the bars. That's right. That's all I'm trying to do, folks.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to do. Keep them guessing, like Troy Weaver.
I think, Neal, we need a separate podcast of you just reading rap lyrics in your smooth, sexy voice.
He had a Jack Harlow one like a month ago. And
What's
I was in the back room and I sat down. I'm like, damn, Neal's good.
I went deep on that one.
You did.
Yeah.
You were digging for that one. It was impressive.
Well, this is the last segment I'm going to do, and then I'm going to go hop in my SUV, black on black, and head up the road.
Oh, it's not black and yellow, black and yellow,
No.
black and yellow?
No, man, that's a decade ago.
Neal's
black on black.
Because today was a good day.
Yeah.
It wasn't 3 decades ago.
Yeah, but that's different. That's goated on the sticks, as my son says.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Neal, we appreciate your time and hanging out with us and going over the draft. You're going golfing right now, then?
I'm driving up north and going to play golf.
Where you playing at?
We're going up to Oscoda.
Okay. Take some mulligans with you.
No, where they at?
Where they at, though? Where they at, though? They right here.
Appreciate you guys. Hey, thanks for filling in and all that stuff, man. But it was big to be. I wanted to be here today, squeeze it in, and like I said, everybody get it in. Get that Pistons hopium lined up. Get it in this weekend. We wake up Monday. We're ready to work.
Let's do it.
We are ready, and if you need some peace of mind and some safety this weekend, Jeff, tell them where they can get it.
Man, well, I can tell you one thing. Listen, I'm still recovering from last night, but I will tell you about Guardian Alarm. And Guardian Alarm has the best defense. We talked about Jalen Duren, the specimen he is on the defensive side for the Pistons. Well, Guardian Alarm, they keep you safe, and they give you peace of mind. Whether you're at home or on the road, they got 24/7 local monitoring. That is making sure what's important to you is safe. Call 1-800, stay out
Keegan
for
Murray.
peace of mind.
Stay out!
You call 1-800, stay out
out.
right now,
Stay
and
out.
let them know Woodward Sports sent you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You can get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
I mean, since we're quoting song lyrics today, you don't need a butt crack full of sand. Go to Chili Peppers Tanning. They got the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans. We were out yesterday doing the live broadcast from their brand new spot in Harrison Township. And shout out to everybody out on Jobby Nooner today doing their thing. And when you come back, make sure you get your tan. They got the hottest bulbs, they got the hottest deals, and make sure you join the Pepper Club at Chili Peppers Tanning. All right, welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Stick, filling in for Neal Ruhl. That is our Pistons expert, Jeff Iafrate, filling in for the one, the only Darren McCarty today. Big D Energy on every day, 11 to 1, right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Flannel Sam is in the building, as well as Spencer Raxter. We got some guests coming up in the second hour. DetroitKoolAid's going to be here. Sean Murphy is going to be here from the Woodward Pistons. So we kind of went over the two guys that we drafted, and where that leads us is you kind of brought up the conversation a little bit earlier, Jeff, when you said, hey, like I said, this is kind of the groundwork for how the going-to-work Pistons were built. And you said, yeah, well, the backcourt is how always the Pistons have been successful.
Right.
So let's take a look at those backcourts. I mean, you have Chauncey and Rip. You have Isaiah and Joe Dumars.
Ooh.
And now we have Ivey and Cade.
Man, give me that. And I will say this, too, about the backcourts. I think that's the mold. Number one, you have two guys that can be dynamic, and I don't want to say they can be better than Chauncey and Rip because we don't know. Those guys, I mean, 2 finals appearances, multiple Eastern Conference finals appearances, like they got some work to do if you want to match that resume. But in terms of just raw talent coming in right away, man, you can make a case. Like these guys are the most, at least dynamic backcourt we've had so far. So definitely have a case for them.
Yeah, dynamic's the word I think you use for these guys because obviously we'll know. Time will tell, right? We can hypothesize all we want right now, but as far as skill set and as far as hope, and we talk about hopium all the time, these guys I think we can look at as our building blocks for the future, as our starting backcourt, and we go from there. Flannel Sam, we haven't heard much from you today, man. Like, what's going on in your world?
Well, I've got a little bit of a hot take that actually isn't a hot take in my opinion.
Here we go.
Lay it on him, Sam.
If Cade Cunningham isn't better than Chauncey Billups, it is a disappointment. Cade Cunningham in March.
I
was about to say.
That's not a hot take.
Cade Cunningham in March, he was one of the best point guards in the entire NBA. He averaged 22, closer to 23, 6, and 7 on 48% shooting. And he was the number 1 pick, and he's only going to get better. As far as Jaden Ivey goes, is he going to be as good as Rip or Joe Dumars? He's a different kind of player. But, like I said, if Cade Cunningham isn't as good as Chauncey Billups, it's a disappointment. When you're the number 1 pick and you're the superstar that we all think he's going to be, that's the expectation.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Chauncey Billups was the number 3 overall pick. I mean, that's not too far down the draft board, buddy.
Yeah. No, but Detroit was like his second life. He was a disappointment. He was a bust.
We were his third life.
His third life, yeah.
And I don't know. I wouldn't call him a bust. I just say Rick Pitino gave up on him way too early.
Well, when you play under Rick Pitino in college and the NBA, you're kind of
you're screwed anyway.
Yeah, he's a terrible NBA
But yeah,
coach.
no, we got blessed. But honestly, like it's kind of what's happening to the Pistons right now. We're acquiring all these top draft picks that weren't with us, but kind of flaked out on other teams. You know, like Bagley, he was a top draft pick, but we got him on our team now. So we're stacking these top 5 draft picks on the roster, and eventually this talent will pay off. And I love that. Whenever you can get a guy that was so highly evaluated and sometimes just maybe needs a change of scenery, I think it's awesome.
I mean, would you guys agree that Bagley looked better in his short time in Detroit than he ever did in Sacramento?
Yeah.
He did.
It's like Wiggins with Golden State.
Absolutely.
I mean, sometimes you just need to find a home. Like Wiggins is talented, but he's not that guy to build your franchise around. He's a good 2-3 guy that can help you get there, and then certain games he can take over like he did.
Yeah, I think, and you hit on it too. Find your home, but also find your fit. Like, find your role. And that's what Wiggins did. I think that's what Marvin Bagley did. He put up similar numbers, but he just looked different. He just looked more encouraging. He looked a lot different from when he did in Sacramento. He's just a lot happier. So I think with the team they have now, Sam, that's not a hot take. I agree with you. I mean, he has to be better than Chauncey Billups. I mean, that's the expectation. The number 1 overall pick, he's the best player in the draft, in my opinion. So that would mean if you're the best player in a stacked draft, you're going to be better than Chauncey Billups.
I mean, we hope his comparable, when it's all said and done, is Isaiah Thomas.
That's it right there.
I don't know if that's that far out of the realm of possibility. I know I'm putting a lot on him, but you saw what he could do.
It's not really about the player either. It's about the accomplishments. Like we can say he could be better than Chauncey, but like what they did for the city of Detroit, it's a big hill to climb. I think Cade can get there, especially with Troy Weaver leading him. But again, that's why I don't want to have these premature conversations like say they're better, although they might have a higher ceiling. You just got to wait and see.
Yeah, we just want it to be successful because we know Cade's just built different, right? right? Isaiah was an undersized guard that just had nuts of steel and would take on anybody in a fight, including his own teammate Bill Laimbeer in practice, right? And Chauncey Billups, 6'4" guy, more of a control of the offense type of guy, more of a slow down, controlled the pace, got the guys the position to where they needed to be. Cade, he's 6'7". Like, he's just different than these guys. He's got a slow, methodical game, similar to Chauncey. He doesn't quite have Chauncey's range, but he's also got that grit and that desire to get to the lane like Isaiah. So, like, even though we're kind of hold them to the same standards of success, they're different guys, period.
And I think one thing you can add and you can make similar is Jaden Ivey and Cade want to win. Like, and that's something similar you've had in backcourts with Detroit, the Pistons' history. Every backcourt wants to win. Like, there's no, I'm going to get mine, and we'll just see what happens. Like, Jaden Ivey came in, I want to win. Troy Weaver challenged him to be better on the defensive side of the ball. He took that challenge. So that's what I can appreciate. You get two guys that just want to win. It doesn't matter who's the leading scorer. As long as we get that W, the rest will take care of itself.
So we're comparing these guys to old backcourts for the Pistons. What about, like, current backcourts in the NBA? Like, where do they fall in ranks of the Steph Clay conversation? I mean, obviously they're not there because they don't have 4 effing championships. But is that the range we expect them to get to?
It's a weird. It's complicated to compare them to other backcourts. I would say this: you can find duos and compare them. Like, you can make an argument, maybe Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You can say LeBron D Wade-esque. I mean, a lot of expectations, but to have a wing and a guard, I mean, really, they're all wings. I mean, Cade's like 6'7", so he's a point guard, but it's positionless basketball. All I got to know is you get two guys that can make plays with the basketball. That's where you can draw the comparisons. But in terms of backcourt, I think they're different, man.
Yeah, as far as size, I like the LeBron D-Wade comp. D Wade's 6'4", Ivy's about 6'4", LeBron's 6'8", 6'9".
They play, get everybody involved.
LeBron's
that type of
obviously
game.
a lot more athletic than Cade, but I kind of like that comp. And if we can even get 40, 70% of that, I think we're all just ecstatic about that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Sam, am I crazy to say that? D-Wade and LeBron, similar, I guess. I don't know I'm not saying Cade will be LeBron, but just, I guess, fit, how they're going to fit together.
Only a little bit crazy because LeBron and D-Wade are obviously unicorns, but I get what you're trying to say. When you look at, honestly, we've mentioned it before, I think Cade's comp is actually closer to like Luka, but on maybe a little bit worse on offense, but to me, that's who he should emulate because he's another guy that's kind of not super athletic, but he can get anywhere he wants on the floor at any time. And you're like, how does he do that? They're just smart basketball players, and they get others involved.
But when you said LeBron D-Wade, all I could picture is that photo with LeBron going like this and D-Wade catching it in the back.
It.
That's Cade in the front, and that's Ivy in the back using his athleticism to throw that down. Like, I could see that happening in my head.
Yeah, and when you look at a guy like Cade, the thing I love most is unselfishness. And I think Jaden's going to be something similar to that. Two guys, like Cade doesn't have to be your leading scorer, and he'll be happy. Like, as long as you're winning basketball games, he might have the most impact on the entire team, but he might not lead your team in scoring. Maybe that's where Jaden Ivey steps in. I think they're going to be hard to game plan for. Like even matching up with them, any other team in their backcourt, you're going to have some issues, I'll tell you that. And you have Sadiq, you can't leave him wide open. I think, man, this backcourt's going to be exciting to watch. It's going to be a lot of butts in the seats this year at LCA.
Well, speaking of the backcourt, they acquired a guy named Kemba Walker as well. Pretty much, we're just going to buy him out.
Right.
That's already pretty much been on the table. But I think we need to discuss that it's a $9 million buyout, but it's only really going to affect our salary cap by about $2 million, which takes us to, roughly like around $50 million that we have now in cap space, too, where we can still go get a max player.
Yeah, no, it doesn't change much. They can still they can re-sign Marvin Bagley technically and still go get a max player. That's what's exciting. They have flexibility, and I've been hammering that word over the last couple of days because that's so important. Flexibility is something you want when you have a great general manager. The Lions have it with Brad Holmes. The Red Wings have it with Yzerman, and now the Pistons have it with Troy Weaver. Now you could sit back and you can let these guys go to work. That's what you want to do. And you saw it last night, him make moves. And I just can't wait for the offseason, man, because they're going to be in every single discussion, which the Pistons have not been in years. Like, they're going to be, DeAndre, the Pistons are interested. Miles Bridges, the Pistons are interested. I mean, that's what you want to see.
And we still have sign and trade assets, too. Like, just because they got rid of Jerami Grant, like, that was a nice piece to have. But there's also guys on the team that are now kind of expendable. And as much as I love Isaiah Stewart, the signing of Duren
puts pressure on him
and Bagley, like,
That's pushing him further and further down that depth chart, and he has some value. I'm not saying we're going to trade him for a superstar, but if we're looking for a contract swap or we're looking for a team that needs somebody to come off the bench, a six-man like an Isaiah Stewart, I don't think it makes Saddiq Bey. I think he's a part of this core moving forward. I don't think you include him in those trade talks.
Right.
Killian could possibly be included in trade talks. So we have more pieces we can move now with the flexibility of cap space, too.
No, you're absolutely right. Like last year, you couldn't afford to trade pieces away. Now you have more depth, and that's something the Pistons also didn't have, is depth. And they have more players. So with Isaiah Stewart, though, what this means is he's got to get a jump shot. Like, bottom line. Like, you have to hit from three. And I get it, he had one, but I'm talking consistently at least 36, 35, whatever it is, be able to knock down shots. Because if you have Jalen Duren, I think Jalen Duren and Isaiah can play together, because Isaiah, I believe, can play the four if he can shoot. But again, it's going to put a lot of pressure on him, because if he doesn't develop, and I heard he's working his ass off, so we'll see. You're right, it'll make him expendable.
Yeah. Sam, what do you think about that, my friend?
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Isaiah Stewart get off the team because he's a tweener. We don't need tweeners. And I think he endeared a lot of people.
Damn, man.
He endeared a lot of people because he wanted to psychotically fight LeBron because he's a Detroit guy. But he's not good. He's Jason Maxiell. That's
He's
all
better
he
than
is.
Max Seal.
Maybe
he's
by
better.
like,
Come on, man.
Maybe
like,
by a smidge.
why are you doing this to beef stew right now? Like, we're just talking he's eligible for a trade. You're talking trash the guy?
He's catching strays, Sam.
Oh, Beef Stew's the worst nickname in the NBA, too, just for the record. But anywho,
where did that come from?
Jalen Duren, I kind of like the fact that he can take a guy like Isaiah Stewart's roster spot and he can be shipped out of town.
Spence, can you weigh in on this? Beef Stew is a great nickname.
Beef Stew is a great nickname, but I'm with Sam on him as a player.
Yes.
Beef Stew, in a winning and a championship team, Beef Stew is averaging 6 high fives a game. He is your third center on the floor. Like, this guy is not. He has. If he gets a jump shot, we'll see. But even then, he's undersized. He's a 6'7" center who is not super athletic, is not a great defender, and cannot shoot.
Hold on.
You can't do that in that.
But I like the attitude he brings, right? The attitude's a lot, right?
Yeah. Hold up. Did you say he's not a very good defender?
I didn't. I said he's not a great defender, which he is not. He's
true.
He's good at defending undersized centers and guards, but it's not. He's not. He can't play on the perimeter defender guy. He can't defend these big guys that we have in the East, like a Giannis, like an Embiid, like these guys that he's going to go after. So it's. Like I said, he's the third center on your team if you're a playoff team.
And I like Beef Stew. I think one thing I have to add is he got a lot better on the perimeter last year towards the end. Like, he was guarding guards, wings on the outside. And that's what you want to see because, Spencer, to your point, like, he is undersized. And if you can't guard on the perimeter, you're absolutely right. You can't shoot. Like, that's tough. But I think he can develop those things. And there's absolutely – I ain't going to let y'all slander him. There's value in Isaiah Stewart. Like, a 6'8" guy, if he can at least knock down shots, you can't sit here and look me in the face and say a guy who can guard on the perimeter – rebound, be another body, come out. Because this is a work in progress. I think Stewart hasn't even seen what he can be. Now, if he doesn't develop, I'm right with you. If he stays the same, we got issues.
I mean, if he does develop, I'm willing to change my opinion if I get new information. But after these first couple years, I'm just not a fan. And I think, like I said, I'm not really big on the tweener type guys. And I think he's been overvalued in Detroit for sure.
Well, everybody that's just tuning in and getting familiar with the Woodward Sports Network, Sam is also the guy that said Ben Wallace is not a Hall of Famer. So take his opinion with a grain of salt.
My correct opinion.
And, Beef Stew is a big boy, and you know what else is back at Big Boy? That buffet, baby! And I remember going to that buffet. Oh, you love it, the breakfast buffet. You get in there, you fill up your plate with all the gravy on top of everything. It's just so good, and Big Boy is back 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at participating locations. Go ahead and try it this week, and if you don't get in on the buffet, make sure you go there and try their classics, the Slim Jim, and, of course, the original Big Boy. Go to bigboy.com, find a location near you.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show. Spend middays with Big D Energy. Watch and listen your drive home with the Bottom Line. And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily. All live, all right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for watching all the shows today. My name is Stick. I'm filling in for Neal Ruhl. That is Jeff filling in for Darren McCarty, who are normally on Big D Energy every day, 11 to 1 p.m. right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you to everybody on YouTube right now. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and that like button.
Do it.
And if you want to take Woodward Sports with you, make sure you download our app. It's free and available in Google Play or Apple stores. Just search Woodward Sports, and you can take your Detroit sports coverage with you anywhere. So we've talked about the players.
Yep.
We talked about how, backcourts are kind of aligning up with the pass. Well, let's talk about the guy putting it all together. Troy Weaver.
The chef.
The Grim Weaver. I mean, he's coming in, and we've mentioned this term a couple times already during the show, playing chess, not checkers. Is Troy Weaver the best GM in basketball?
I'll slow down on this. I think he's the best GM in the draft. We haven't seen him in an offseason yet to say he's the best general manager. I can name guys with better resumes, but I will say this. Troy Weaver, what a start. Like to arguably win the last 3 drafts, you deserve to be in that conversation. And certainly, every year you're seeing this more and more stick. The Pistons, man, they won the draft. Like last year, took Cade. Man, they won the draft this year. Damn, they won the draft again. He deserves to be in the conversation, but in terms, you have to start winning games, and I think certainly he'll seal the deal. He can get there, no doubt about it.
Isn't it nice that now we have a little bit of hindsight and we can look at last year's drafts and be like, yeah, we didn't want the Jalen last year. We want the Jalen this year because if we drafted Jalen Green last year, I think we'd all be sitting here kind of hitting the panic button with
Absolutely.
Troy Weaver being like, man, he really missed the mark on a Cade Cunningham. And he didn't. He nailed it last year, and we haven't seen them on the court, but it's feeling like they nailed it this year because of the national pundits that are telling us that we did it, which we're not used to seeing. And let's bring in our guy, Sean. Half court is in here. Full court, half court, all court.
Oh, we're full court pressing today, man. We're taking the victory lap. What's going on,
Sean,
man?
full court is in here. Sean, you live in Grand Rapids, but you contribute to the Woodward Pistons. You write articles for us. You do some podcasts with us, with Jeff and the rest of the Woodward Pistons. I know you were hype as hell last night. I was afraid you were going to have an aneurysm and a heart attack. I did my best to keep you on camera when you were getting up and jumping all around.
Yeah, there's only so much you could do, Stick. You had a tough job.
Yeah, but, we got your opinion about the draft, but how specifically are you feeling about Troy Weaver this morning?
Man, there's really only good things to say. I mean, let's take a stroll down memory lane and remember where we were when we signed Jerami Grant as a free agent. The Detroit Pistons' best young prospects at the time were Luke Kennard, Sekou Doumbouya, Svi Mikhailuk, and Bruce Brown.
Are you even speaking English? Who?
Exactly.
I haven't heard of those guys anymore.
Exactly.
That's like an era I've already forgotten.
Yeah, and so for Troy Weaver, with almost no assets, with almost no roster flexibility, comes into a situation and in just a couple seasons has a backcourt of Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, has guys like Sadiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart, who they got in his first draft, guys like Killian Hayes, who could still be an X factor off the bench. I mean, listen, man, there's just a ton of flexibility, a ton of options, but in addition, you have the farm system, man. You got all these young players. I mean, this is just, you couldn't paint this better, man. Truly, you really couldn't.
No, you couldn't. And I want to ask you quickly about Jalen Duren specifically. And I think a lot of people are talking about it in the chat a lot. It's a hot topic. You get Jalen Duren. What does that mean for DeAndre Ayton? And in your opinion, Sean, I see you're buffed up because listen, we're buffed up.
Of course, I see you got the buffs on. We gotta rock the energy.
Post-draft
I gotta match the vibe.
It's the post-draft buffs. But with Jalen Duren, what does that mean for free agency? And does it take him out of the DeAndre Ayton conversation? Because I don't think it does.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you're the Detroit Pistons, you're in a situation where you can go add DeAndre Ayton for the luxury of adding DeAndre Ayton, of taking that next level and upgrading your team. Because we were just talking about this last night, Jeff, with all the different options options that this gives for the Pistons at the big man position. If you bring in DeAndre Ayton and then you have Jalen Duren as his backup, you have elite rim protection 48 minutes each and every night. And then you have a guy like Isaiah Stewart who can come in and be your small ball 5. He could also come in and play the 4 if he can start hitting the 3 consistently. That's a guy that can look very similar to Grant Williams or even Robert Williams from Boston as well. There's some similarities there. So listen, man, the Pistons have a ton of options at the big man spot. Now, personally, if I were to go off of my gut, I would say that a Miles Bridges fits this team right now a little bit better than
they can go get him.
And we absolutely can.
We can go get him. I mean, like we said, we pinned them to a point where they don't have enough money to re-sign him or offer him that max contract that we can right now. So.
Right. Well, and that's why Charlotte, they're in this really difficult spot because the only way that they can really bring back, Miles Bridges and make some changes is if they go on the luxury tax. And Michael Jordan is known to not want to go on the luxury tax, especially when it's not worthwhile. And are you going in the luxury tax?
Broke-ass Michael Jordan. He doesn't have enough money. He can't afford a luxury tax. Like, this is what's crazy about Michael Jordan. I'm so glad Neal brought that up about how any of these clowns that bash Joe Dumars for winning a championship and going to 6 Eastern Conference finals in a row and building a whole team that we all still galvanize around. And then you got Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time. Can't figure out how to put the damn basketball team together. And this is the problem. Like, you find this a lot with uber talented people. Like, Jordan just assumes you can do what he does. Right? Like, he doesn't know how to coach you to be Michael Jordan. He just thinks, oh, I know how to do it. You know how to do it. And the guy has put together, like, Emeka Okafor was probably his best draft pick. And that was a horrible draft pick. Like,
terrible.
Anybody, please, if you ever have Joe Dumars slander, just think of the shoes that you're rocking and be like, oh, man, Jordan sucks, too.
Well, the other thing, too. Oh, go ahead, Spencer. Sorry.
I was just going to say LaMelo Ball is definitely his best draft pick.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
I'll give him Miles Bridges the mellow ball, but in terms of like constructing a winner, he fails to do that. So it's
because they're in this really awkward position now where they have all these talented guys, but like they can't do a damn thing on the defensive end. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. They bring in Mike the Hornets are just a mess. But it makes the Pistons and what they've done stick out like a sore thumb on draft night because you see the direction and the vision that they have. You see when they push those chips in the middle of the table, you can look at what Troy Weaver was up to. And even though just 24 hours ago people thought he was out of his mind for trading for that 2025 pick, but you know how valuable it is to have a first-round pick in your system that you don't have to pay anything for, but is a future even this pick's been traded 3 or 4 times now
already.
Because, exactly, because it's that valuable. So listen, man, Troy Weaver knows what he's doing.
Yeah, anybody who's doubt Troy Weaver to this point, I mean, I find it funny when people think they're smarter than the guys that have all the information. Listen, we're commentators, right? We observe. We know what we like. Like, I think we all like Jaden Ivey. If you go back and watch the video from yesterday when Maddie was asking everybody who they liked here at the network, Jaden Ivey probably was like 8 out of 10. That's what people were saying.
Oh, yeah.
So we all have our pulse on things, but we know maybe a tenth of what Troy Weaver knows. Yeah. We don't get to see behind the curtain. We don't get to see the conversations. So when people... I just think we have such a bitter taste in our mouth that we assume these people are dumb. But no, a guy like Troy Weaver, a guy like Brad Holmes, they have forgotten more than we will ever know.
No, I'm never going to look a guy who's been doing this for a majority of his life and tell him I can do it better than him. I'll never do that.
And has proven it, right?
And has proven it.
Dude won a championship in Toronto. I mean, like Casey I'm talking about. He brought in Casey. Like, he pretty much built that championship Toronto team. Nick Nurse cashed in on it. Yeah. But that was Casey building that team, right?
And Troy understands. That's why he's so patient. I appreciate that because he's not rushing to conclusions. Number one, he traded Jerami, and I bet he got flack for it, which is undeserving, but he stayed put. And the same thing with Dwayne Casey. He's so patient with Dwayne Casey. Everyone, last year, the year prior, fire Dwayne. He's like, nope, that's my guy. And same with Jerami Grant. I'm going to wait to deal him. And look, he still got a great offer. Turned him into the 13th overall pick. And you hear crickets from all those people who criticize them for that Jerami Grant trade.
Well, and it just shows, like, getting back on Casey, it shows his faith in Casey. He's like, listen, this guy's the coach. I'm just not giving him the right ingredients to make a good meal right now. You know, like, he's working with dog crap, and I'm trying to get him. Then we can really evaluate Casey as a coach. You can't evaluate a coach when he has nothing to coach.
100%, but it also just shows, like you said, how much faith that they have in him. Not only that they're bringing in all of these guys and trusting them to stay in and say, well, we're just not winning games. It's not your fault. But also, this roster, I mean, let's not forget, even though it got more talented, this roster is still insanely young. Like we
Super
have,
young.
Yeah, we have hardly any players over the age of 23. Sean Corp for Detroit Bad Boys, he just put up a tweet a little bit ago. Players on the current Detroit Pistons roster over the age of 23, minutes last year, 1,400 minutes. Al Horford alone, these past playoffs, 36 years old, 935. So like that, like just to put it in perspective, like of just where we're at in that regard. Like we're an insanely young team.
And we know what Dwayne Casey is. Dwayne Casey is a coach that develops talent, and that's Troy Weaver's been on record saying there is no coach he'd rather have in this situation than Dwayne Casey. So he can build these young guys, and yeah, we'll probably go the Toronto route. Once we have our team established, once we have these guys in their prime ready to go, we might switch out for a new coach who can push us over that edge, who can get us to that championship. But Dwayne Casey right now is doing what he does best. He's going to continue to do that, and he's going to put these young guys in the best situations to be good NBA players and win.
And there's always a caveat. Like, fire Dwayne. Okay, then who are you bringing in? Like, I'll wait.
That's my favorite response. Anybody who's like, get rid of this guy? Okay, well, it's like the Jim Harbaugh situation. Get rid of Jim. All right, who's better and who are you going to bring in? Give me a solution, not just the problem.
I don't like that take because it happens all the time. Coaches get fired, new coaches get brought in, and they succeed. Like, look, for example, what MSU football did. They fired the best coach in school history, and they brought in Mel Tucker, who is taking the team to new levels.
Yeah, but don't forget they had John L. Smith before. It doesn't always work out for the best.
I don't think you can be afraid to fire a coach or move on from a coach because you don't know what
Look
you're
at Jim
get.
Caldwell
That's
and Matt Patricia, though.
GMs and other people for.
But I think, again, though, the other thing is you got to look at the context of why you would fire the coach, though, because it's what would lead you to that point. With the Pistons, like Sick brings up, you can't honestly have this young of a roster, this lacking of a talent. We had this past season, we had over $30 million in dead cap space on this roster, and you're expecting that to go out and compete and win basketball games? Like what do you want Dwayne Casey to do? Turn water into wine?
And it's not the same as Ime Udoka or Willie Green. Like, those guys were brought into Spencer's point, but those teams are ready to win. Like, you're not. My point is, who are you bringing in right now to this team that can win games? Like Dwayne Casey, you talked about the resume. He's a perfect coach right now, and that's my point. Maybe when you have more talent, you can go get an Ime Udoka. Like, you know what I mean? These guys, but not right now.
Well, if I'm a betting man, I think Casey's going to be here a while. And if you're a betting man, I would go to the one place where you can place all your bets on pretty much anything. I'm talking fish like sumo. You can bet on sumo. You want to bet on who drafted in the NBA draft last night? You could have done that all at mybookie.com. And you think the NHL playoffs are almost over? Think the championship's going to be crowned? Well, you can bet on that too. Go to mybookie.com right now. Enter that promo code Woodward so we can hook you up with some free cash so you can have a couple risk-free bets while you're at it. That's for first-time signups only. Go to mybookie.com, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117. It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
I'm back. Hey, 9 out of 10 winners I gave you guys. Hey, nothing but fun coupons coming out of the Woodward Bet Show. You guys got to make sure you're checking us out at 4:30. Also, you guys got to make sure you check out oddstrader.com. It's got live scoring, play-by-play updates, and it's the best place to check all the odds right in the palm of your hand. But hey, let's get back to that winner. I mean, we've been red hot. We're going to stay hot. Listen, we're going to roll with the Phillies tonight. Phillies are 5-0 in Aaron Nola's last 5 starts. We're going to roll with that. Oddstrader.com, Woodward Bets. Check it out.
I know what you're thinking. Jeff, you look fresh today. And I have an answer to that. Well, if you want apparel, go to Big Frog. There's only one place to go. No setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum. In a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing. Big Frog has the styles you want. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
Welcome back to Big D Energy. right here on the Woodward Sports Network every day, 11 to 1 p.m. Normally, Neal Ruhl is sitting where I'm sitting, and normally D-Mac is sitting where Jeff is sitting, but today you got us because they are both golfing. It's Friday, it's summertime, it's Michigan. We get like 6 weeks a year to actually have fun on a Friday.
Got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, so that's where they are, but we got some special guests. We got Sean in the building. We, of course, have Flannel Sam in here, and the big man, Spenmo Rax, over there in the TD booth. So thank you guys for being a part of Woodward Sports. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page so you can get some more Detroit sports coverage. And like I said earlier, we got a free app that you can download. Just go to the Google Play or Apple Store and download the Woodward Sports app today. And follow us on all social media too. Like, we're all over the place, and we're happy for you guys to be a part of this growing conglomerate of Woodward Sports. Woo, man. So I just feel like we're checking off the list, right? We covered Ivey. We covered Duren. We covered Weaver. We covered this. But let's go into free agency now. With all of this said and done, we got the draft out of the way. We now know how much money we have on the books. Our team is kind of in place. We know who our skeleton roster is going to be pretty much. We probably know, 8 of the 12 players that are going to be on the Pistons coming up this year.
Absolutely.
So where does that leave us in free agency? The hot name has tended to be Ayton.
Yes.
Do you guys feel now that we should still go after DeAndre Ayton? And here's a tweet by Evan Sideri. Says DeAndre Ayton would reportedly embrace forming a new dynamic duo with Cade Cunningham on the Pistons per the Stein line. And I think that's pretty presumptuous for Ayton to say that he would be part of a dynamic duo. It's, some self-confidence, which I like. But this goes back to, once again, this could be potentially stacking a number 1 overall pick again on this roster. Now we're talking like 4 out of our 5 starters are top 5 picks.
Yeah, and you hit on that point earlier. I think DeAndre Ayton, too, he's a arguably, you could call him, top 6 center in the NBA. Like, that's still impressive. And I don't think he's a finished product either. I mean, he played with Chris Paul and Devin Booker, but I think his role in Phoenix, it'd be way different than his role in Detroit.
Right.
He'd have much more an offensive, I guess you can call it load. I think he can get 20 and 10 a game. It really depends on how Troy wants to approach it. Do you see a better fit with Miles Bridges, or do you think there's something special there with DeAndre Ayton, and maybe how much time do you think Jalen Duren needs to get ready? So there's a lot of questions, and that's why I'm hoping my man Sean can answer them for me. What do you think, Sean? What about DeAndre Ayton, Miles Bridges?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with DeAndre Ayton, one thing that we have to keep in mind is that Phoenix is very much looking and eyeing a sign-and-trade scenario this summer for Ayton. So I think if the Pistons are able to go after him and just bypass that and get to an actual offer sheet, I think that's something where the Pistons are very much in play. Once the Suns are starting to look for some assets, and once the Pistons actually have to give up a little bit more, I think that's where they can back off and focus elsewhere, because I think with Jalen Duren, that just makes the need for the big man just be not necessarily as much there. I mean, Jalen Duren's a guy who is going to be 19 when the season starts. He has a grown man's body. He's a guy that can come in and play for years to come. So that's why I really do feel like I'm shifting towards Miles Bridges. For one, if you look at the team fit right now, we need wings, we need forwards, we need guys who can push that pace and bring that intensity on the defensive end. And then, I mean, let's state the obvious. There's the hometown ties. Flint native, grew up and played at MSU. He's the hometown kid everyone would root for and buy his jersey day one. So it just makes too much sense in that regard. I mean, other than that, the team they need to get veterans. That's the number one thing. We need to get some guys who can help bring some leadership and some presence.
Who is the one guy outside of Bridges that you think could be the gel for this team?
Yeah, I mean, there's guys that are out there. Like I know one guy that's being out there, Malik Monk from the Lakers this past year, is a bucket getter, a guy who could go get some easy points, a guy you could bring in on like a 1-year contract. But that's the thing, after you get past these big names, the quality in the class very much changes. So the other thing that
where I'm going, Jeff.
So the other thing with free agency, the other thing about free agency is that this is also when trade season begins. So in my opinion,
don't set him up, Sean.
Sean doesn't even know he's setting me up, and he's setting me up.
I'm just waiting. Go ahead, say it.
No, keep going, baby. I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying, Sean. Keep going. I'll jump in when appropriate.
The beauty with it is when you have salary cap, when you have assets, and when you have flexibility and options, it sets you up to go and
get anybody, right?
Almost anybody.
Almost like a Kevin Durant.
Now listen. Now
I'm talking. We have wait. I'm going to use your words. We have assets. We have money. That sounds like a nice sign and trade opportunity for me to go out and get a guy who's on a max contract, not really happy with his team. Kyrie, his running mates, looking to skedaddle out of there. He's already saying, you know what? I'm going to wait and see what the Kyrie situation is. I love Cade Cunningham. They got the bag. I like the bag. I'm a sensitive guy. I would love to go to a team that would absolutely embrace me. I could use my burner accounts, but I'm telling you, Kevin Durant is coming to the Pistons soon. Maybe not this year, because he got 3 years left on his deal. But we got enough money. We got enough assets. We talked about maybe we send an Isaiah Stewart, a Killian Hayes, a young package to them, and say, hey, we got $50 million for you, baby.
Hold on. Spenny, break it down for him, please. Please tell Stick why he may be crazy.
You are not getting Kevin Durant for Isaiah Stewart and Killian Hayes. To get Kevin Durant,
and we're taking on the contract. So don't forget the contract.
He's still a third, one of the 3 best players in the NBA.
According to Bobby Marks,
Kevin Durant, you'd have to trade Jaden, Ivey, Sadiq Bey, and 5 first-round picks.
According to Bobby Marks,
the biggest trade package in the history of the NBA.
According to Bobby Marks, lead front office analyst for ESPN, and Bobby Marks has his ties in the league. He said it would take the largest trade package in NBA history, which...
Well, it's a good thing Troy Weaver has the biggest package in the league.
And
that is true.
Do you want to go get a guy in his early to approaching mid-30s who tore his Achilles 2 years ago?
His name is Kevin frickin' Durant. I want him.
I love Kevin Durant. He's one of my favorite players of all time.
The Durantula in Detroit Piston uniform?
I would love it, but here's the thing. There's just more realistic options available. There's options where we don't have to give up as many assets, or really any assets of all, necessarily, if we go get a Miles Bridges or DeAndre Ayton. And also, be patient, because there's guys like Bradley Beal who are going to decide they might want out. There's going to be other guys throughout the league. We see Kyrie Irving forcing his way out of Brooklyn.
I don't want Kyrie here.
Well, I'm not saying we're getting Kyrie. What I'm saying is...
I don't want another guard here.
But what I'm saying is that you never know when a star can request a trade. Because a contract means nothing these days.
That's right.
It's NBA players, for all intents and purposes, can enter the transfer portal. So what I'm saying is...
don't tell me KD's locked up for 3 years. I don't want to hear that.
I'm not saying KD. What I'm saying is it could be somebody else we're not even talking about right now. But Troy Weaver knows.
And it has nothing to do with KD. To Stick's point, like, I get why people get so excited, because you have Troy Weaver, who has a relationship with Kevin Durant. Things are going wrong in Brooklyn. But let's not forget, like, Kevin's foot was on the line against Milwaukee. They could have made the finals that year with Kyrie.
They would have won the finals.
They would have won the finals because, they definitely would have beat Phoenix. But back to the point, I just think if you have Kevin Durant, 3 years, he's making what, close to $50 million.
Mm-hmm.
You got to clear.
We got it, baby.
So Sting, let me just confirm this. So not only are you going to have the biggest trade package in NBA history, but you're going to have to clear some more cap space to make that work, or get rid of some guys.
Yeah, okay. That's fine, but think of our starting lineup. Cade Cunningham, Ivey,
don't talk me into it.
At the 3.
Don't talk me into
Bagley
it.
at the 4.
When he's available, the thing is, Kevin Durant's
I'll take Kevin Durant 50% of the time, and I didn't even throw Sadiq Bey's name out there. So let's put Sadiq Bey at the 3, Durant at the 4, and Bagley at the 5.
Sadiq's going to be in Brooklyn, bro. Who's untouchable? Sadiq's going to be in Brooklyn if you're making that deal.
Tell me who's untouchable. Like, if you're making a trade with KD, who are you not giving up? You give me a couple players.
Well, I'm not giving up Cade. I'm not giving up Ivey. Outside of that, anybody can get it.
Well, that's who they're going to want. Okay, Sadiq. Would you give up Sadiq? Because they're going to want something. They got to get more than just a couple picks.
Yeah,
like,
I'd have a rough time giving up Sadiq, but usually when a trade is fair, both sides are uncomfortable.
The largest trade package in NBA history. Okay. You're giving up a couple guys you like.
Slower. It doesn't change my mind. Kevin Durant in a Piston uniform. See, I can say it slower. It doesn't change what you're saying.
It changed. Listen, man. I love the enthusiasm. I am one of the biggest Kevin Durant fans you'll ever meet.
Apparently not.
We are too. listen.
Get the hell out of here with that lie.
Listen, no, I'm just trying to analyze basketball here. I'm just trying to do my job and make sure we're not getting crazy here. Because listen, this is an exciting day for the organization.
Yep.
But let's be realistic about where we're at. Because if this is 2 years from now, the Pistons are fresh off like a play-in game. We have a roster. Because when Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn, remember there was a culture there. There was a reason why Kyrie and KD were excited about going.
What culture was in Brooklyn?
They had
what? Spencer Dinwiddie or like they didn't have anything going on in Brooklyn.
Wanted to team up with his boy. Wanted to team up with his boy.
They had no culture. They had to bring in our leftover pieces in Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. They had the team that we just got rid of.
I'm talking about before Kevin Durant came, because you forget they had Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen. They had this wealth of young talent. D'Angelo Russell. And they made a run and took the Sixers to 6 games in a playoff series in the first round. Kenny Atkinson was developed. It's very reminiscent to the beginning days of what the Pistons were building.
Dudley.
Yeah, exactly, man. There were some guys. I mean, yeah, Jared Dudley. Well, at that one, I was just like, that one just snuck by me, and I hear it. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, see, you're proving my point, Spence.
Well, because I normally expect Spencer to have my back, and then he comes in with Jared Dudley. Yeah, he really did, man. That was something.
Well, Sean, thanks for coming in and joining with us with this conversation. Listen, I would be excited if we could get KD.
I would too.
I know it's out of the realm of possibilities, but you know what? With Troy Weaver being who Troy Weaver is, there's nothing I won't count out anymore. Like, we could get LeBron, and I hate LeBron, but the rumor is LeBron's going to play till Bronny plays. So let's go get LeBron.
Let's go get Bronny.
Let's just get them all. Like a Pokemon. Catch them all.
Let's build a super team.
Bro, he's playing the draft like it's Pokemon cards, man. The way he's making other GMs look, it's child's play.
Oh, man. Well, whether you're drafting who you draft or you want Kevin Durant on the team, the one place where they can get their workout shape and get in game shape is Planet Fitness, and you can do it, too, for as little as $10 a month, or you pick up that black card, which is just a little bit more, and you get all the amenities that Planet Fitness has to offer. And right now, through the summer, high school kids, you work out for free. So get your team together, get that camaraderie going, and go hit the gym at Planet Fitness.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Everybody loves the way Troy Weaver has been building the Detroit Pistons along with Brad Holmes and Eiserman, but who's another place that can help you build something? That's Alta Equipment Company. Our friends at Alta Equipment know that when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. That's why Alta Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction with the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan. There is nothing your project can throw at you that Alta can't handle. Give them a call, 844-GO-TO-ALTA today. Alta Equipment, where uptime matters.
Welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for being a part of the chat today. We see these comments just rolling through. Keep them coming. Give us your opinions. We love to see it. Even if you're calling me an idiot, I'm okay with that.
Still an opinion.
I'm an eternal optimist, right? I'm always going to shoot my shot and go for the big game. And, sometimes it backfires on me, but I would rather be an optimist 100% of the time than sit here pouting about my teams constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think being optimistic is being wrong. I just have to.
No, I'm wrong a lot. Oh, yeah. No, I'm self-aware.
At least you're admitting it, because listen, Sam, I give you credit for going at this man for his LeBron take.
No, let's not bring up this, Sam. If you guys want to see me and Sam go back and forth, it's on our YouTube page. I school Sam.
No,
Sam sits down like a child at daycare and eats his snack.
Okay, that's not how I remember it. I think you were the one at daycare, but that's just my opinion.
I love you, Sam, and that's the cool thing about us being at Woodward Sports. Like, we're all local guys here. We're all from Detroit. We all care about these teams probably more than we should. Mm-hmm. We have our professionals like the Terry Fosters, who is able to distance himself because he's a reporter and he knows, I can't get emotionally invested. But I'm emotionally invested. That's why Woodward Sports is around. We're emotionally invested in this thing.
Voice of the fans.
Yeah, we are. We're the voice of the city. I think we all got sick of hearing negative from all the other media outlets about Detroit. And look we come along. Now we've had a couple positive years. And, so thank you guys for being a part of Woodward Sports and helping us grow. Make sure you like the page. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you download our app, which is free and available in Google Play or Apple stores. So I kind of hate doing these side-by-side comparisons because I feel like anytime you give one person their flowers, it feels like you're insulting another. So I want to make this clear before we have this conversation. Both of these men are at the top of their game.
Yeah.
Picking one over the other isn't a slight towards either of them. I think we both agree, and you can argue either side. And it's nice that we can have this conversation.
It is.
This isn't the conversation of who's the worst GM in Detroit. It's between Brad Holmes and Troy Weaver. Who do you have more faith in?
I'm going to approach this question a little different. I'll say, who do I have more faith in to produce a winner? Because they're both damn good. But if I had to say who I have more faith in, it's Troy Weaver because basketball's different. You need superstars to win games, and they have two of them already. And I would project Jaden Ivey to be that guy. So with Troy Weaver, now both these guys are unproven. Both these guys weren't previous general managers. They came in, working under great general managers, and now they have their first role, and they're absolutely killing it. Brad Holmes, he's done similar things than Troy Weaver for the Lions, so you could definitely love both of them. But if I had to bake on who's going to have success first, man, the Lions are closer, but there's so much that has to go into a football game. Like with basketball, it's like if you have Cade, you have Sadiq, you have Jaden Ivey, you sign someone in free agency, you can go get it. You can go have some success. So I'm going to go with Troy Weaver, but again, to your point, just because I say Troy Weaver, it doesn't mean I have any less faith in Brad Holmes.
Exactly.
So that's really where I'm going with it.
Yeah, to me, I look at the league, right? It's easier to go from worst to first in the NFL than anywhere else.
Right.
So I'm gonna give Brad Holmes the benefit of the doubt there that he can make this a winner sooner. But the longevity, I think, is where Weaver is kind of taking over right now because Weaver's setting us up for a nice decade run, at least 6-7 year run. The Lions, it can be easy come, easy go, depending on injuries and stuff like that. So I think they're both setting us up for success, which is nice to say, and I love that we can have this conversation. And like I said, we're not debating Al Avila versus another guy that's horrible, right?
Stan Van Gundy.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't an Al Avila. Oh my God,
that's terrible.
Those were real conversations that you could have. But yeah, so I think both of these guys are doing a tremendous, phenomenal, incredible job. If I'm talking longevity, I'm definitely going with Troy Weaver. But if I'm talking quick turnaround and can get us there maybe this year, next year, I'm going with Brad Holmes. And like I said, it's nice that we can compliment both these guys. Spence, you got an opinion between these two gentlemen?
It's tough. I mean, we've both seen them do similar moves in these past drafts where they're moving up and getting a player that people loved and that is one of the best players in their position group in the draft that might have fallen further than they should have. So it's not a very similar track record. Really, before I judge them on who is better, I need to see the results on the field and on the court. But as making moves, I'm going to give the edge to Troy Weaver over Brad Holmes just because what we've seen him do in the later rounds in the draft, like the second round of the NBA draft is basically a dead zone. And the way he's found guys out of there, he's found role players, he's found position players, guys that will be in the rotation out of that second round is impressive. Much like Brad Holmes has done with the later rounds of the NFL
That's what's so cool
draft.
about this.
Yeah, it's really hard to pick. And you could throw Stevie Y in there for the same reasons. So it's tough, but I'm going to go with Holmes. Maybe a little, recency bias into it, but I'm going to go with Holmes for now.
What about you, Flannel Sam?
Boy,
Weaver, sorry.
it really is like choosing between your children, isn't it? Because they're both so promising and they both made so many good moves. But for me, the tiebreaker that makes it over the top for Troy Weaver is the fact that he got Cade Cunningham. I know a lot of people might say, hey, it was a slam dunk, it was obvious, but we remember there was some Jalen Green chatter, there was some Evan Mobley chatter, and I believe that Cade Cunningham is going to be the biggest superstar in the entire city, and he will be a best player on a championship team type guy. I'm not saying they'll win a championship, but that kind of guy. That's why I give the slight edge to Troy Weaver.
And I think a big point, and Spence kind of hit on this too, you have to see what these guys do in the offseason. They both really haven't spent big money, and that's going to be the deciding factor. Someone brought it up in the chat, and it's a great point. What Holmes has been able to do with undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
That's big time. That goes under the radar. So
he signed Buddy Boeheim.
And Buddy Boeheim. Like, these guys, we'll see how these guys pan out, but that's what makes a great GM.
Well, and what I like about both of these guys is they use their assets, right? Like, they continue to stack assets, which is important. You know, not only trading away Jerami Grant, getting that first-round pick, but also got a second-round pick with that, which he packaged with another second round to move up. And so they just keep using what they have and turning a second-round pick into a first-round pick, you know, turning our first-round pick at 32 into a little bit higher pick so we can get a Jamison Williams, you know, like they just keep making these smart tactical moves with all the assets that they have. And you can't forget that both of these guys came into pretty much salary cap hell with contracts, and they have cleaned that problem up too, which is almost more important to who they're drafting.
And to add to that, like, both franchises were on the decline. Like, you just got fresh off Matty P and Bob Quinn, and the Pistons were fresh off bad contracts. And I'm going to be honest with you, like, just terrible management in general. So both deserve credit, and it's an interesting conversation to have. Right now in the YouTube chat poll, we got 61% for Troy Weaver, 39% for Brad Holmes, and I think that's about right in my opinion. I get why you pick Brad Holmes in the NFL. You made a great point too. Like, it's easier to turn things around in the NFL, and that's the biggest thing.
And somebody in the chat said, "Why isn't Iserman in this poll?" And I put it between Troy Weaver and Brad Holmes because Iserman is a proven commodity.
Resume.
He's been there, done that. He's been a GM. He's won championships. Both of these guys are new to the position. This is their first job as a GM. So
that's
I think
fair.
and Iserman is the clear number one in my opinion.
Out of every GM in Detroit right now?
Out of the three of them, yeah, Iserman's the clear number one.
Even over Avila? I love how that's just a joke.
It's so funny. People tweeting last night, "Oh, all three general managers love them all." And then there's Avila on an island by himself.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's nice that we can have this conversation. It's nice that we're picking between best, not worse. And, yeah, we're going to see because the offseason isn't over for the Pistons. We still don't have our roster set with what we're going to be going into this NBA season with. So that's what I'm excited for, too. Like, this isn't set. I feel like the Lions are pretty much set. Like, we know what we have going into the season. Maybe we'll make a trade here and there. But the Pistons still have room to grow and get better from where we're sitting right here, right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't want to address Brandon in the chat. Anybody can get a good player with the number one pick. Getting Williams at 12 is far more impressive. Actually, no.
Yeah.
You don't always
Anthony
get a good player
Bennett,
at number one.
Markelle Fultz,
Greg
Name
Oden.
them. Go
Greg
on.
Oden,
Like, keep going.
DeMarcus Russell.
You keep going. You keep going. Like, this is why it's so important that you have the right talent evaluator at the general manager position, and both franchises have hit on that. So, I mean, Aid Hutchinson, number 2 overall. Boom, you got him. And Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. These guys, they're there. Boom, you get them. Sacramento, they can't always say the same thing.
Yeah, do you have that Sacramento graphic?
Yeah.
Because we always talk about this as Detroit fans, and, you know, like, oh, man, we could have drafted this guy. And I just want everybody to know this happens to everybody, but it's really bad look right now for Sacramento. They passed on Bagley.
Jesus.
Or they took Bagley, which doesn't look so bad now after he got his championship, but they could have had Luka, and they also could have had Trae Young as well. And then who the hell is T. Rob? I don't even remember T.
Thomas Robinson.
He ain't in the league.
And they passed on him directly after that, Damian Lillard.
Oh, the Jimmer Fredette is mind-boggling.
Jimmer, legend. Shanghai Sharks, legend.
And
BYU legend.
And I get it. Like, there was hype around Jimmer, but Clay went. Think about that one pick. You were so close.
And it's not only the Sacramento Kings, too. Like, who was it? The Timberwolves put something out like this. Like, they passed on Steph. They passed on Clay.
The Knicks did, too.
But they literally could have had the Warriors team in Minnesota, and they passed on them. So, as much as we feel sorry for ourselves for not getting Devin Booker, for not getting Donovan Mitchell, there's a lot of teams that missed on a lot of guys.
That's like consecutive Darko Milicic drafts.
Right.
Like, think about how, like, we talk about that one draft. Think about, like, 5.
And again, Brad Holmes, to get the 2 people he wanted most in this draft, Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, he abused the Kings, the Hornets,
spanked them,
and the Knicks. Like, it's just you're taking candy from babies, and it is fantastic candy that improves your franchise forever.
Yeah, it reminds me of like Draft Day, where he's like, "Oh, we got to call the guy that's new and stupid. We could take advantage of him."
Exactly.
That's just Troy Weaver. He just got a Rolodex of who's dumb. All right, cool. We're gonna take their stuff.
I love it, man. Robbery. The man's committing robbery. Him and Brad Holmes fleecing guys, and that's what I talked about with Neal too. Like, imagine getting a phone call if you're Leon Rose or general managers of other teams, and you get a phone call from Troy Weaver. You're shaking in your boots.
It's like, oh god.
You're like, shaking in your boots.
This sounds like a good deal. What is going on right now?
It's funny, man.
It's almost like a scam call. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, this is the Prince of Nigeria. No.
It's like,
no, I got a really good deal for you. I'm gonna give you this, and you're gonna give me, your 13th overall pick. It's gonna be fine.
It's like with your iPhone, you see scam likely. That's Troy Weaver every time you call. Scam likely. They still answer the goddamn phone.
That's what every other GM has Troy Weaver saved as the scam likely.
Why is Pizza Hut calling you at 3 a.m.?
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad we can have that conversation. Troy Weaver, you did it last night. And if you guys are looking to do it this weekend, you're out on the course, there's only one thing that you should have. And that is one of these tasty beverages right here. We like to call it a mulligan. And I'm telling you, this 8% alcohol is no joke. Like I said, I was in Spencer's booth last night helping out the Woodward Pistons. Got a little too excited when we made the draft. Cracked a couple of these. Shotgunned them pretty much. And next thing you know, I got that Irish sweat going on because 8% treats you right. So make sure you go out, get yourself a mulligan. If you're at a golf course, ask for it by name. It's by Gypsy Vodka, a local Michigan brand. So support your Michigan distillers.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You know it. You've heard of it. It's the home of the original football bowling pin game called Fulling. Multiple ways you can play. They've got $12 open unlimited play. You can stay there open until close, have a good time, or private lane reservation, $120, 10 to 12 people. You can bring in any type of food you want. And if you get thirsty, they've got a $2 mystery beer vending machine. Pop in $2, pops you out a good beer. No hassle, no fuss needed. Know what you want to make a decision. They have multiple fully loaded bars for you to choose from. So come on down, check them out in Hamtramck, or visit them online at thefullingwarehouse.com. Again, that is fullingwarehouse.com.
Welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for being a part of the show today. Everybody in the chat, make sure you smash that like button and make sure you subscribe. Lots of new viewers all day long today. Yep. And this is pretty much what Woodward Sports is for, man. Big moments in Detroit sports. Thank you guys for coming to us to cover it, because we are your local coverage. We are the guys that are on the ground. We're in the streets.
In the trenches.
And this is what we love to do. My name is Stick. I'm filling in for Neal Ruhl today. He is normally on Big D Energy along with 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. That is every day, 11 to 1 p.m. right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate filling in for Darren McCarty. And then don't forget, right after this, 2 to 4 p.m., we have The Bottom Line with Braylon Edwards, former Michigan great and NFL wide receiver, Ryan Romani, the Cougar legend, and of course Maz, the Pizza King. They are on at The Bottom Line, so make sure you guys come back at 2 p.m. and check out that show. I love hearing Braylon's opinions on these types of things, because Braylon was a hell of a basketball player too, so he doesn't just know football. So make sure you're tuning in 2 to 4 today right here on the Woodward Sports Network. So here we go. We got DetroitKoolAid in the house. And is Kool-Aid, can we call him the leader of the Woodward Pistons?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you are? You're
That's
the
my
leader?
guy right there, man.
Yeah, the leader of the Woodward Pistons is here. Uh-oh, Sam's got to switch out your batteries on your mic, or just turn your mic on. That always helps. We're still figuring it out. But what up, Kool-Aid? How you doing?
What's good?
How you feeling today, baby?
Bro, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah?
I'm ecstatic. I told you I wanted to talk Jaden Ivey, but first, Jeff, bro, What's up with the locks, man? You bring out the hair for the main shows, but the Woodward Pistons podcast. What's up, man?
Hey, man, I was getting sweaty last night. All this hair gel would have came right off the dome. I can't lie.
Look, and then I look at the comments, and they're talking about, yo, he has the shorts on. Yo, don't just bring the shorts, bring the hair, too. We're trying to get these views up.
It's true. That's true. If you guys didn't catch that post stream on Woodward Pistons, I had the legs showing a little bit.
Yeah, those thighs, those creamy thighs, baby. Creamy thighs.
Making people a little uncomfortable, man. But no, I did want to ask you, though, quickly, like your reaction, because I was with you. But for people that didn't catch the stream, you can go back and watch it. It's on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel and Woodward Pistons for the post-stream. But what was your initial reaction, man? Because I knew how you were feeling. We've been doing all the homework. Like, how does it feel to have it now over with and Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren become Pistons?
Hey, look, you know what it is. We were saying all along that this was a combination we wanted. Either Ivey and Mathurin, either Ivey and Duren, because we thought that those were more Troy Weaver-esque players as well as Keegan. When it fell our way, when we saw Keegan Murray get picked by the Kings, look, for weeks we were talking ourselves out of the fact that we thought Ivey wasn't going to be there. So when he was there, bro, that emotion that we saw last night,
it was raw.
That was raw. Even though we knew he's still going to be the pick after we saw Sacramento pick Keegan. Dog, it was just pure raw emotion. I'm still ecstatic because this is a guy who not only wants to be here, but Detroit runs in his veins. It's in the fiber of who he is, his family, his makeup. And he's been talking about that nonstop, man, nonstop. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, last night, big night for Woodward Pistons as well. You guys had a ton of viewers watching you, like you said, both during the draft and the draft after party that you guys did. But Kool-Aid, we were talking about Troy Weaver earlier. How does this guy not miss? So far, dude has not missed once. Yeah. Can we continue to expect this out of him? And what do you expect out of the two players that he did draft yesterday?
Yeah, see with Troy Weaver, and we talk about this a lot. We've been trying to steady the ship over at Woodward Pistons. Shout out to Sean from Half Court, the brother, and Jeff, Rod Beard, and some other people who are involved with us. We've been telling people you cannot judge Troy off of a singular deal. You know, in the past, you can judge other GMs deal by deal by deal because their end result was, what are you trying to do here? We didn't get it. When Joe Dumars went and signed Josh Smith, it was like we knew that's dead on arrival. But with Troy Smith, he's earned this ability. He's earned, you know, the opportunity for us to see this thing play out, to see, you know, all of these different things, all of these different parts. They're more like puzzle pieces.
Right.
And every year we see these things play out. We all screamed, why is he signing Jerami Grant? Then we saw him outplay that contract. We were wondering, what's up? Why is he trading Luke Kennard? Why is he trading Bruce Brown? Now we're saying, yo, we love Sadiq Bey. We love what Isaiah Stewart can bring to the table.
Right.
That's who Troy Weaver is. And it's just let his plan play out. Let the goals go. See if he reaches them. See if this team gets to where he's saying he's going to take them. It's not about how fast or how slow. It's about doing it the right way. And that's what I love about Troy Weaver.
And I want to ask quickly, because I brought this up when Neal was on the show, about Jalen Duren. He went to Memphis. He's coached by Larry Brown and Rasheed Wallace. Yeah. And I knew, man, this is a guy you could make an argument could be the selection at 5. Like that, and you got him at 13. That's value. What is your opinion on the role he's going to have coming in? He's 18. He's raw. He's got an NBA body. What is he going to do defensively for the Pistons? And what do you think that means for free agency, if it changes anything at all?
Yeah, that's the thing that I've been thinking about all morning is what does this do for free agency? Because now we instantly have Marvin Bagley we have to make a decision on as well. We still have Beef Stew, and I know they're flirting with DeAndre Ayton. With Duren, man, I love what he brings. When we broke him down on the show, when we previewed him on the show, it was all about the tenacity he brought. There were things we thought he can improve on, but we all believe that Casey will be able to put him in his best possible position. I don't know the system or what he was asked to do, but I'm excited about what Jalen Duren is going to bring. He's a quick jumper. He's awesome help side, awesome on the weak side. He can get there really quickly if somebody does get by Jaden Ivey, K. Cunningham, or Killian Hayes, because we have our perimeter defense just improved a lot last night, by the way. It improved a lot. But with Jalen Duren, you're getting a guy who just works. I know that some people tried to call some question to his motor, but I believe it was just the overall situation, the overall era at Memphis. There was a lot of weird things that were going on there.
He didn't have a playmaker there either.
And no playmaker. We saw that situation kind of just petered out as it went on. You know, Imani Bates and all of that. So in this situation, and I wanted to say this about Jaden Ivey too, they're playing with much better talent in the NBA. Much better talent around them, much better coaches, much better floor spacing. You're going to see these guys become much better because they're not having to be the stars.
And I was talking to Jeff about this earlier. You were around during the going to work Pistons era, right? You're similar to my age. And we witnessed them build that team from like 2001 to get to 2004 where they won a championship. Are you getting similar vibes? Because I sure as hell am.
I am, because there were moves that some people questioned. But ultimately, we saw what he was trying to do.
Stackhouse, you know, and that was like, why the hell would you trade away Jerry Stackhouse? Trade away Grant Hill for Chucky Atkins and Ben Wallace? Ben Wallace? I've never even heard of the guy.
People questioned it. It wasn't enough at the time. People didn't know what was going on, and that's why I relate this to Troy Weaver. At the time, Joe Dumars knew what he was trying to do. He had a goal, he had a plan, and he executed that the right way. And bringing Larry Brown in, that was his mantra. The right way. Play the right way. Play the right way. That's what I see. When Troy Weaver's talking about restoration, it's not about a rebuild. It's about restoring what we were previously in 04, what we were in 80, 89, and 90. That's what it's about, getting back to those roots.
Yeah, the restoration, I love that he uses that term, but he's being too nice because this is a rebuild, man. Like, he had to completely tear it down and build it back up. And really, Jerami Grant was the tool that he did all of this around to get to where we are, which is wild to me. But yeah, no. This is a rebuild. he had to clear complete house.
Take out
we
the
don't
garbage.
have any leftovers really.
None.
Like Sekou was his top prospect when he came in. Now Sekou didn't even make the G League team, right? So that just shows how elevated our roster has been since this man has taken over.
Yep. And how many people questioned him
Everybody.
when he cut Sekou? How many people lost a little bit of faith? We saw it, Jeff. I know you guys. How many? Yeah, people started saying, yo, Troy sucks. Get him out of here. They started losing faith. People were like, yo, this draft is over. They thought we weren't going to get Ivey. Look at where we are now. Right. Hey, that's why I wore this shirt right here. It's for Transformer Troy right here, man.
Transformer Troy?
Yo, how long have we been waiting to see a team like this? He comes in and executes, and in a few short years, I'm putting Jaden Ivey. I want to kind of put Duren in there. I got to see some things. We're going to have 4 first-team, all rookies. You know, all rookie first teamers.
Yep.
Jaden Ivey's going to get there. I'm going to put that on the map right now. You add that to K. Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart. Troy knows what he's doing. We haven't seen this type of draft prowess from a GM in a long time in Detroit.
And comparing it to the Lions, you know, when you steal a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round, you are literally giving yourself another first-round pick. And what Troy Weaver has done in these drafts by stealing a Sadiq Bey where he did, by stealing an Isaiah Stewart, who we said isn't the all-star, but he's a contributor. That Killian Hayes draft, even though Killian hasn't been what we expected him to be, that set the foundation because you got 3 viable starters
3 of them, man.
in one draft. That can transform a team very quickly. And then you add a Cade Cunningham, then you add a Jaden Ivey, then you add a Durant. Like, it's just fantastic what this guy has done in 3 drafts.
Does anybody remember that we used to have Blake Griffin's albatross of a contract?
Yeah, and his busted ass.
How quickly this thing has turned around.
Yeah.
That's a guy who knows what he's doing.
Well, you know, and you can turn your life around too if you're struggling with any addiction or mental health issues. That is where the SMA comes in, the Sports Marketing Agency. You can just go right now to thesportsma.com and get all the help that you need. There's no shame in reaching out for help. There is shame in not reaching out for help. So do that today. It's part of the NFL Alumni Association. Sean Jordan did a great job. Plus, they have a podcast called This is the F Word, focusing on fentanyl, which is attacking Southeast Michigan right now. So go to the sportsma.com.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
As Fish says it, Odds Trader. It's the bet station for your best bet. Go to oddstrader.com right now, and you can get the best lines available for really whatever you want to bet on. I mean, and that's what I love about them. If you're feeling, oh man, I went on this website and I really feel like there should be a half point less, Odds Trader may find that site for you so you can get the best betting odds. So for your best bet, make sure you go to oddstrader.com right now.
Right now.
Nibbly dibbly.
Do I look like a cat to you, Spencer?
Welcome back to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for being a part of the conversation today. Big night last night for the Detroit Pistons. Draft party was going on at LCA. We had our draft party here. DetroitKoolAid is joining us again. My name is Stick. Filling in for Neal Ruhl. That is Jeff Iafrate filling in for 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty, who is normally on Big D Energy Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So make sure you guys come back every day and watch. And don't forget, 2 to 4 today, The Bottom Line with Braylon Edwards, Ryan Armani, and Maz. They're going to be covering, and we're going to get their opinions as well. Yep. That's what I like about Woodward Sports, too, is we all are fans, but we all have different opinions. Like we get in a lot of spirited conversation around here, and I'm glad that you guys can share in that conversation with us. Kool-Aid still joining us. Jeff, you wanted to ask Kool-Aid another question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. We've covered the draft. That's kind of what we've been talking about clearly, but I want to ask you, how does this draft affect expectations? Because you have to wait till free agency. I get that.
Right.
But in terms of now you landed your guy, our guy, we've been talking about Jaden Ivey. You get Jalen Duren, you expected him to have 2 first-round picks. They ended up doing that, getting 2 valuable players. Does that change anything for you this season? Are you still waiting till the offseason? Do you think this is a play-in team, a playoff team? What do you think?
You know what? It's what we've been saying all along. We all said we're not going to be surprised. We've been saying this for months, Jeff. We're not going to be surprised when they get 2 or 3 first-round picks. And then what did Rod throw on top of that? Don't be surprised if they then go and also throw 2, max talent players on top of that. Because they need talent. Even though they have what they have, these players still have to go out there and prove it. Duren, Ivey, including Isaiah, Killian, Sadiq, these guys have to prove that in year, for at least Stewart and Sadiq, that they can take this step forward in year 3. Killian has to prove he can take command of that backup guard position. But I'm excited. I'm so excited. Troy, he did exactly what we all thought he was going to do. He did.
Win the draft.
Absolutely. I mean, it's A+ for them. Is there anybody that you think did better? Maybe OKC?
I was literally just going to ask that. Are we peering over the fence to anybody and thinking, man, they did a better job in this draft than us? Nothing off the top of my head.
And that has nothing to do with the player. It's the value you got. Like right. I get you could say, well, Orlando won the draft because they got Apollo Big Hero. No,
but did they though? Did they though?
There were so many questions about him.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's Orlando. Who the hell wants
to
be in Orlando?
You got Jaden Ivey at 5, which many thought he would be higher. You got Jalen Duren at 13, which again many people thought he would go higher. That's why I call winning the draft. That's getting value. That's why I would assume that Brad Holmes won the draft as well.
I was going to say, do you think Troy Weaver looked at what Brad Holmes did? All right, you got Aiden Hutchinson, then you traded up and got Jameson Williams. I should do the same. Wait a minute, I can do that too. I'm going to get my guy at number 5, and then I'm going to trade up to 13 and go get the other guy that I really wanted too.
Yeah, and it's amazing. How did he get this done with one trade of Jerami Grant for a draft pick that everybody a day before was absolutely trashing? How did I knew he was going to do something. We all knew that. Troy doesn't make deals like that and just leave it incomplete. We all knew that there was going to be something else that was going to come, the other shoe to drop. And I'm so glad that faith in Troy paid off. I am.
Well, Chuck Brewer just posted Yahoo grading. They gave out 3 A+ on picks. Wow. Detroit got 2 of the 3.
Because it goes back to that value.
Yes.
That's what matters. It's not about the Paulo, the Jabari, the Chet Holmgren. It's about where you select these players. And you saw it, man. If you follow Woj, I know everyone's looking at Woj for all their draft news. He also tweeted a lot of teams were inquiring at Detroit about getting Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
Hey, any second thoughts? Do you want to give him up? Are you sure you want to give him up? That's called getting value, man.
And I love that. That's when Troy Weaver's like, nah. He ours now. Sorry. Click. Boom. Goodbye. But before we get out of here, let's go around the room. Let's do some grades. Spence, let's start with you. How are you grading the draft from last night?
I got to give it an A+. I mean, what else can you want? He got the 2 highest people on his board. Troy Weaver said he wanted Jaden Ivey and he wanted Jalen Duren more than any other GM, and he got both of them. and he gave up Jerami Grant for it. So,
all right, Kool-Aid, what are you giving him?
Hey, the same, man. A+, all the way. You know, these are the players, like Spence said, Troy wanted the entire time. Jaden Ivey wanted Detroit, and I'm glad he's the type of player who understands what that means. He has to earn that. He has to earn that. Like Darren McCarty said last night, hey, and with Jalen Duren, all the way, A+. I think he's going to shock and surprise a lot of people.
Flannel Sam, you got that Debo on today because that's what Troy Weaver did last night, just Debo'd the league. What do you think?
I will give it an A- because I think the value was good, just like Jeff said. But I don't think Jaden Ivey is as sure of a thing as some people. And Jalen Duren, I think he's a bit of a question mark too. But like Jeff said, the value and what Troy Weaver had to do to get it, it was phenomenal.
All right, and Jeff?
I would Brandon and Spence hit on it too, kind of, and same with Sam actually, because then he gave him an A-. I mean, I call you hating, but at the same time, it is an A. Like, I don't know how you can give Troy any lower of a grade, because if you want to grade a draft pick, you look at the GM and Troy Weaver, who was on his big board. He got those guys, and he didn't have to move closer. He didn't have to trade up from 5. He got great value at where he selected. I'm giving him an A+.
Yeah, I'm with you guys, and I feel like we are just sitting up here sipping Kool-Aid, and nobody in here is like, oh no,
it's
what
great.
about this? What about this? But bring me those arguments then. Show me where I should be concerned with this draft, because everybody I talk to, even heavy basketball people like Neal Ruhl was talking about, think that we did the right thing. National pundits are starting to say we did the right thing. Like you said, Yahoo gave out 3 A+. We got 2 of them.
Boom.
What the hell?
Mic drop.
We're Detroit.
We were talking about it last night, man. National media is loving Detroit, and that's a different type of feeling. That's a different type of feeling.
So I'm going to give them an A. I mean, 4.0. That's what we're batting right now, and I love it. So you're giving us. Oh, I thought you were starting to strip over there. Do that again, Spence. Do it again, baby. Wave that shirt over your head.
Spence is butt naked, man. He's excited too.
Thank you guys for being a part of Big D Energy today on the Woodward Sports Network. Like we said, a lot of new viewers, a lot of new listeners. So make sure you like and subscribe.
Appreciate you guys.
And come back at 2 o'clock for the bottom line right here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're gonna go pop some champagne and keep celebrating. You guys have a great Friday. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Get buffed up.
In the 2022 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Jaden Ivey.